My childhood friend and I work at the same company. The company offered an overseas training opportunity, and we were both candidates for it. In my previous life, I gave him the opportunity. As long as he completed the training, he would get a promotion and raise, becoming a vice president. But the very next day after the announcement, he gave it up for love and went chasing after my best friend. His mother came to me in tears, so I sent a message to my best friend, but the next day, my childhood friend came and gave me an earful, accusing me of being consumed by jealousy. Later, he successfully went abroad to study and returned as a vice president, and I became the target of his humiliation. On the very day my best friend passed away, he stabbed me to death. Given a second chance at life, I won't hold back anymore. Xia xia. Do you have feelings for Su Qingfeng? During lunch break, my best friend tilted her head and asked me with a playful grin. My chopsticks paused midair as my gaze grew distant, fixed on the food in my bowl. The company cafeteria had prepared all my favorite dishes today, yet I'd suddenly lost my appetite. Just as I was spacing out, someone flicked my forehead. I looked up and found my childhood friend Su Qingfeng standing there. We grew up together since childhood. His house was right across from mine. When my parents were often away, I'd stay at his place, eating together, sleeping over, and playing side by side. I've always relied on him a lot, and I've always had feelings for him. What's on your mind? He flashed a bright, handsome grin and plopped down right beside me. I glanced at him, then lowered my head and quietly continued eating. Su Weixia, aren't you going to introduce me to the beauty next to you? The moment Su Qingfeng laid eyes on Lin Qiushuang, his face lit up. He kept nudging my arm and frantically shooting me meaningful looks. I was eating, but the food tasted like cardboard. This is Lin Qiushuang, a friend of mine, I introduced to Su Qingfeng. He's Su Qingfeng, you probably know him, I said, turning to look at Lin Qiushuang. My voice trembled slightly. I've had a crush on Su Qingfeng since childhood, but this time I played matchmaker for the two of them. After the introduction, the way they looked at each other turned flirtatious, so I tactfully picked up my tray and left. Su Qingfeng shot me a puzzled glance when I suddenly left, but he didn't dwell on it. He just sat down next to Lin Qiushuang and started charming her, making her laugh non-stop. The dining hall was filled with their cheerful laughter. I returned to my workstation, my face slightly pale and glistening with a thin layer of sweat, a dull ache throbbing in my chest. In my past life, Su Qingfeng had driven the blade deep into my heart without hesitation, watching coldly as I bled out. Just the sight of Su Qingfeng now fills me with dread, my hands trembling. I swallowed a pill and pressed them to my chest until the pain gradually subsided. After the hour-long break, colleagues gradually returned to their workstations. Lin Qiushuang came back chatting and laughing with Su Qingfeng. The new colleague across from me stood up and said with a grin, "Team lead, there's something going on between team lead Su and sister Qiushuang, isn't there?" I looked up toward the pair not far away. Lin Qiushuang had fair skin, wavy long hair, and wore an elegant white dress. Poised and self-assured, she was widely regarded as the beauty of our company, with many colleagues having a crush on her. Su Qingfeng was one of them. He fell in love with Lin Qiushuang at first sight. I averted my gaze and noticed the colleague across from me secretly studying my expression. Fang Yuan, sitting next to the new employee, quickly pulled her back into the seat and whispered, "Weixia has a crush on team leader Su. You're new here, so don't speak out of turn." Her voice was very soft, but I still overheard what she said. Before my rebirth, I was practically Su Qingfeng's lapdog, making him heart-shaped bento boxes, buying him coffee and bubble tea, giving him gifts for every holiday, handling his work tasks, and even rushing to pick him up in pouring rain when I heard he got drunk. Everyone in the company witnessed this with their own eyes. The whole office knew I had a crush on Su Qingfeng, except for Su Qingfeng himself. Fang Yuan kept sneaking worried glances at me, but only relaxed and focused on her work after seeing my calm expression. A moment later, Lin Qiushuang returned beaming with joy, placing a cup of milk tea on my desk and saying with a smile, "Xia xia, Qingfeng ordered milk tea for me and brought one for you as well." The phrase "as well" was quite telling. It implied that without her, I wouldn't have gotten to drink the milk tea bought by Su Qingfeng. I haven't been drinking milk tea lately, it's too sweet. I glanced at the cup on the table, picked it up, and placed it on Lin Qiushuang's desk, my expression blank. Lin Qiushuang was taken aback for a moment, then asked in confusion, "But I thought you loved sweet things the most." As soon as the words left her mouth, she seemed to realize her mistake. Thinking I was upset, she quickly sat down beside me, wrapped her arms around mine, and gently swayed them. In a soft, coaxing voice, she said, "Don't worry, Xia Xia, I know you like Qingfeng, I won't compete with you for him." But that very evening, Su Qingfeng posted a message on his social media: "Falling in love is like getting drunk." It was accompanied by a landscape photo. The one he loved was none other than Lin Qiushuang, sitting by the window in my thin nightgown. The biting wind swept in and chilled me to the bone. I stared blankly outside where the sky was pitch black, without a single glimmer of light. I snapped out of my daze when my phone vibrated on the desk, rubbing my dry eyes. I picked up the phone and saw a message from Lin Qiushuang. "Xia Xia," Qingfeng posted on Moments. "Did you see it? You don't think he has a crush on you, do you?" In my past life, her words had me so overjoyed I couldn't sleep, but now I know Su Qingfeng's heart belonged to her. She was the one who made him post that social media update. These were all the very boasts she'd flaunted to me in our previous existence. I ignored her completely, shutting off my phone to focus on the company's new project. This project will determine whether I secure the opportunity to study abroad and get that promotion I've been working toward. Last time around, I actually beat Su Qingfeng, but I was so hopelessly infatuated with him that I voluntarily stepped aside so he could pursue further studies overseas. This time, I won't be making that same mistake. Ever since I posted that moment, Su Qingfeng has been coming around my place a lot, not for me, though. He just wants to chat with Lin Qiushuang a bit more. But he always ends up exchanging a few polite words with me too. "How's work going, team leader Su?" he said with a bright smile, flicking my forehead the moment he arrived. He loved flicking my forehead. It felt so intimate that I started to wonder if he had feelings for me. His radiant smile made me dizzy for a moment. I'd been captivated by that same smile in my past life, but the memory of his twisted expression as he stabbed me to death sent shivers through my body. The words slipped out before I could stop myself. Su Qingfeng was taken aback. "Xia Xia has been a bit sensitive lately." "Qingfeng, don't upset her," Lin Qiushuang declared with righteous indignation. Shoving Su Qingfeng aside abruptly, her words sparked murmurs among the surrounding crowd. They all thought I was being unreasonable and making a mountain out of a molehill. Su Qingfeng didn't even blame Lin Qiushuang for shoving him. Instead, he swiveled my chair around to face him, tilting his head as he said, "Su Weixia, what's going on with you lately? Avoiding me is one thing, but you're not even bringing me lunch anymore. What? Are you rebelling against me?" I turned my head to look at him. My eyes dim and tinged with a hint of fear. Su Qingfeng's smile froze. He didn't understand the meaning behind my gaze, but he suddenly felt an emptiness in his heart. "Get to work." I gave him a calm, indifferent glance, my voice cold and devoid of any warmth. Su Qingfeng frowned slightly, then turned and stomped back to his workstation in a huff. Lin Qiushuang glanced at me, then at Su Qingfeng, the corner of her lips curling up almost imperceptibly. I kept typing with feigned calm, but my heart still ached with dull, throbbing pain. When evening came, my mother dragged me out of the house and handed me a steaming plate of dumplings, telling me to bring them to Su Qingfeng since he was home alone. Whenever my parents make something delicious, they always send some over to him. Delivering things to Su Qingfeng has always been my job, and I used to love doing it. I'd jump at every chance, but now, I don't want to see Su Qingfeng at all, not even a single glimpse. "Mom, you go deliver it," I whispered. "You go." My mom practically shoved me out the door, yelling after me, "Don't come back without delivering those." Staring at the steaming dumplings on the plate, I hesitated for a moment before finally knocking on Su Qingfeng's door. Su Qingfeng opened the door with a smile while still on a call, but his expression froze the instant he saw me. My best friend Lin Qiushuang's voice came ringing through his phone speaker. I handed him the dumplings. "My mom asked me to give these to you." After delivering them, I walked straight into the house without looking back. Su Qingfeng came to my house with the empty plate, slipped into my room with familiar ease, and tapped my shoulder with a grin. "Weixia, since you're an early riser, could you grab some breakfast from West Street for me tomorrow? I need to give it to someone. Oh, and could you help me brainstorm what kind of gifts girls usually like?" Su Qingfeng was speaking with passion, but every word felt like a dagger through my heart. He treated Lin Qiushuang with unwavering devotion. In our previous life, he was offered a chance to study abroad but turned it down without hesitation because Lin Qiushuang disliked long-distance relationships. When his mother found out, she pleaded through tears that his future was at stake, yet he firmly insisted love mattered more. Left with no other choice, his mother came to me for help. That's when I found out they were together. So I sent a message asking if they were actually dating, but the very next day, they broke up. Su Qingfeng stormed into my place with bloodshot eyes, tore all our photos to shreds, smashed the birthday gift I'd made for him with my own hands, and accused me of being so consumed by jealousy that I deliberately tore them apart. His eyes were bloodshot as he choked me and screamed he'd never love me, not in this lifetime. After he became vice president, he found every excuse to torment me, piling on endless work, forcing me to entertain clients with alcohol, and watching coldly as drunk me was led away by those clients. I fought desperately to break free, only to be met with his humiliation in the end. Then Lin Xiaoshuang came back into the picture. They became a couple again, and I thought the torment was finally over. But she was in the late stages of cancer with only days to live, and ultimately jumped to her death the next day. Su Qingfeng came to me with a suicide note, claiming I was the reason Lin Xiaoshuang developed depression and ultimately took her own life. To exact his revenge, he drove a knife into my heart without hesitation, twisting the blade to tear through my flesh. Su Weixia, you killed Xiaoshuang, I'll make you pay with your life. No, I didn't. I held his hands, but rage had blinded him. He drove the blade deeper, and as I stared into his furious eyes, mine welled with tears. The physical pain was nothing compared to the agony in my heart. He shoved me to the ground, watching with cold indifference as I bled out and died in a pool of my own blood. I was lost in a daze. Weixia, Su Qingfeng shook my shoulders and laughed. What's on your mind? I looked up, my eyes slightly reddened, watching Su Qingfeng slowly clench his fist. I'm sorry, I murmured. I can't help you. I need to go straight to the office. I used to take a detour of several kilometers to West Street just to buy breakfast for Su Qingfeng, but not this time. Su Qingfeng was taken aback. It was the first time I had ever turned him down. He thought I was just in a bad mood, so he didn't think much of it. 2 evenings later, while working overtime, I helped a new colleague organize an important document. After hesitating for a moment, I transferred the file to a USB drive, then locked up and went downstairs. I didn't leave right away. Instead, sitting in my car and waiting for quite some time. In my previous life, someone would delete that file, and that was the day my relationship with my colleague fell apart. Lin Xiaoshuang appeared at the company entrance arm in arm with Su Qingfeng. They walked into the office chatting and laughing, so I grabbed my phone and followed, but as I reached the doorway, I heard the unmistakable sound of a passionate kiss. I froze mid-step and took 2 steps back. After a moment to collect myself, I clenched my fists and stepped forward, only to see Lin Xiaoshuang sitting on my desk, locked in an embrace with Su Qingfeng as they kissed. My hand, still holding the phone, trembled slightly, and my vision began to blur. I've told myself countless times not to fall for Su Qingfeng, to stop having feelings for him, yet seeing this still breaks my heart. Qingfeng, do you like me or Xia more? Lin Xiaoshuang wrapped her arms around Su Qingfeng's neck and asked coquettishly. What kind of question is that? Of course I like you. I only see Weixia as a little sister. Su Qingfeng replied nonchalantly. Lin Xiaoshuang smiled smugly at his words. But Xiaoshuang, didn't you ask me to come open the door and get your bag? Where is it? Su Qingfeng looked around but couldn't find Lin Xiaoshuang's bag. Oh, I left it in the meeting room. Qingfeng, could you go get it for me? I need to look for a document here. Lin Xiaoshuang reached up to stroke Su Qingfeng's neck, her voice softening into a coquettish plea. Utterly captivated by her charm, Su Qingfeng eagerly scampered off toward the meeting room. The moment he left, Lin Xiaoshuang's smile vanished. She turned and shot a venomous glance at my desk, then deliberately knocked over my cup. Water instantly spread across the documents nearby. She then went straight to the desk of our new colleague Li Yu. After confirming no one was around, she opened the computer and deleted the file outright. As soon as I stepped into the office, I noticed everyone giving me strange looks. Looking up, I saw Lin Xiaoshuang holding a teary-eyed Li Yu, gently wiping her tears with feigned concern. Don't touch me. Don't cry. Maybe Xia didn't do it on purpose, Lin Xiaoshuang said. As soon as she said this, a team member who had always held a grudge against me fanned the flames, saying, she must have done it on purpose. Su Weixia has always been petty. Maybe you rubbed her the wrong way somewhere, and she's trying to mess with you. Hearing this, a faint smirk tugged at Lin Xiaoshuang's lips. Li Yu burst into even louder sobs upon hearing this, choking out, why is the team leader treating me like this? I just asked for her help because I didn't know how to wrap up the work. That file is really important. I've been working on it for over half a month. If it's gone, I'll definitely get fired. What am I supposed to do? Liu had always been the office's ray of sunshine, so when she got upset, everyone rushed to comfort her. Of course not. Lin Qiushuang feigned concern as she comforted Liu. I walked over in my high heels, glanced at the people gathered around Liu, and asked, "Don't any of you have work to do?" The moment Liu saw me, she rushed over, grabbed my arm, and tearfully complained, "Team leader, did you accidentally delete my file last night? I just checked and it's gone. That file contained over 2 weeks of my hard work. Why would I delete your file? That document is crucial to our team's project." I shot Lin Qiushuang a sharp look, and she averted her gaze. Lowering my voice, I said, "Do you really think I'm that stupid? Deleting your files would jeopardize my upcoming evaluation." Liu thought about it and realized it made sense. "Then who deleted my files?" "Team leader, I really need this job," Liu said, looking at me with pitiful eyes. I made a backup. I wiped away her tears and handed her the USB drive. Lin Qiushuang froze in place upon hearing this. She never saw that coming. Liu burst into tears of joy at the sight of the USB drive, showered my face with kisses, and exclaimed, "Team leader, you're amazing. I love you. You're my savior from now on." A colleague who's always had it out for me shot me a sidelong glance and sneered, "Xiaoya, don't be so quick with the gratitude. For all we know, someone might have deleted it on purpose just to play the hero with that USB drive later." Lin Qiushuang immediately jumped to my defense with righteous indignation. "How dare you say that? Xia would never do such a thing." But no sooner were the words out of her mouth than she turned to me, clasped my hand and whispered tentatively, "Xia. You didn't actually delete it deliberately, did you?" Her question pointed the finger squarely at me. "Sorry, but I recorded a video last night. Watch it and you'll see who deleted the file." My eyes turned cold as I raised my phone. "Xia, did you really catch the person who deleted the file on video?" Lin Qiushuang walked toward me, so nervous that she was breaking out in a cold sweat. I gave her a cold glare, and her eyes flickered away, but before I could play the video, my phone was snatched away. Su Qingfeng snatched my phone, furrowed his brow, and dragged me out of the office. Right in front of me, he pulled up the video and deleted it without even watching it. Glaring at me angrily, he snapped, "What gives you the right to record a video? Don't you realize you're making Qiushuang feel humiliated? She's your best friend." Su Qingfeng was only concerned about Lin Qiushuang's embarrassment, not about me being misunderstood or blamed. "If you ever dare to scheme against Qiushuang again, don't expect me to spare you for all the years we've known each other." The moment Lin Qiushuang is involved, Su Qingfeng's attitude does a complete 180. He shoved the phone back into my hand, then returned to the office and left the company with Lin Qiushuang in tow. The office erupted in commotion. Team leader Su is so dashing, a real hero saving the damsel. They're definitely dating, they look perfect together. Their whirlwind romance instantly became the talk of the entire company. Su Qingfeng even took a few days off specifically to cheer Lin Qiushuang up and took her out. Meanwhile at work, I became known as that jealous woman who resented Lin Qiushuang. Everyone said I was jealous of her, jealous that Su Qingfeng liked her, and that I tried to frame her for deleting Liu's files. I never once mentioned Lin Qiushuang throughout the whole ordeal. Yet this rumor spread anyway. It's obvious who started it. "Wei Xia, are you okay?" I was getting water in the break room when Fang Yuanyuan came up to me, her face full of concern as she asked. With the double blow of heartbreak and betrayal, she was worried I might do something rash. What could possibly be wrong? I took a sip of coffee and said with a light laugh, "Su Qingfeng and Lin Qiushuang are being so public about their relationship these days." Fang Yuanyuan remarked. "They're traveling everywhere and posting multiple couple photos on social media daily. Don't worry about me, Yuanyuan," I said with a light laugh. "Right now, getting a promotion and raise is what really matters to me. The higher you climb, the broader your perspective becomes. Given this second chance at life, I'm determined to reach greater heights so no one can ever push me around again." Soon enough, it was time to compete for the overseas project placements. Su Qingfeng didn't even show up to the meeting room and forfeited directly. The proposal I'd worked on for so long got approved and adopted by our boss. This time, however, there were 2 slots for overseas training. One of them was mine. "Who is it?" The other one became vacant. When Su Qingfeng heard the news, he applied for it and the company approved his application. But when Lin Qiushuang learned that he was going abroad for studies with me, she immediately threw a fit, with reddened eyes. She yelled at him in the office, "We've just started dating. I don't want a long-distance relationship. If you dare to go, I'll break up with you." To appease her, Su Qingfeng promised that he would give up the opportunity to study abroad. Seeing Su Qingfeng comply with her unconditionally, Lin Qiushuang shot me a glance, her eyes brimming with smugness. I swept a glance over the two of them, and Su Qingfeng noticed me as well. He looked at me as if wanting to speak but hesitating, yet I lowered my head. Half an hour later, I didn't want to have any interaction with him, but when he saw my indifferent demeanor, his expression instantly darkened. The moment my shift ended, he blocked my path and flicked my forehead. Su Weixia, even though I'm dating Qiu Shuang, you don't have to treat me like a stranger, do you? Isn't she your best friend? Su Qingfeng looked down at me with a slight smile. I raised my hand to touch my throbbing forehead and stared at him expressionlessly. I have things to attend to, I should get going. I walked so fast that I didn't give him a chance to catch up. I was genuinely scared and wanted nothing to do with him. But the next day, I realized things had taken a turn for the worse. Su Qingfeng's mother stormed into our office and shouted, "Which one of you is Lin Qiushuang?" All my colleagues in the office turned their gaze toward Lin Qiushuang, who was sitting beside me. When Su Qingfeng's mother saw me, her fierce expression softened instantly. She hurried over and asked, "Weixia, is there someone named Lin Qiushuang here? Where is she? I'm going to teach that shameless woman a lesson." I was momentarily speechless. Noticing the situation, Fang Yuanyuan cautiously pointed toward Lin Qiushuang, who was hiding her face behind a stack of documents. Seeing this, Su Qingfeng's mother slapped away the documents Lin Qiushuang was using to shield her face. Her usual gentle demeanor vanished as she flew into a rage, shouting, "You wretched woman, why are you ruining my son's future? He clearly has the chance to study abroad. Why are you stopping him from going?" Lin Qiushuang wanted to retort, but when she saw Su Qingfeng rushing over, her eyes instantly welled up with tears, and she began to cry pitifully. Seeing Lin Qiushuang in tears, Su Qingfeng grew furious. He grabbed his mother's arm and tried to pull her outside, but his mother shook off his hand and urged, "Xiao Feng, don't listen to this woman. You must go abroad to study with Weixia. Once you return, you'll get a promotion and a raise. I won't interfere with whatever you do after that." Su Qingfeng hesitated. Deep down, he wanted to go too. Seeing Su Qingfeng's hesitation, Lin Qiushuang grew anxious instantly. "Qingfeng," she called out to him. Her eyes reddened as she shook her head with a pitiful look. Sending Su Qingfeng abroad with Su Weixia, that's practically handing him over to her on a silver platter. She would never allow it. When Su Qingfeng's mother heard her scheming again, she immediately slapped her across the face. "You witch, don't you dare try to bewitch my son." Lin Qiushuang stood frozen in place, her eyes instantly turning icy cold as she whipped her head around to glare at Su Qingfeng's mother. "Qingfeng, are you just going to stand there while your mother humiliates me like this?" Lin Qiushuang looked up at Su Qingfeng, clutching her swollen red cheek in fury. Su Qingfeng's temper flared instantly upon hearing this. He pulled Lin Qiushuang behind him and glared at his mother, seething with anger. "I will never leave this country. After the way you've humiliated Qiushuang today, don't ever expect to acknowledge me as your son again. As far as I'm concerned, I no longer have a mother." Su Qingfeng's mother staggered back 2 steps, so enraged she nearly collapsed on the spot. I rushed over to steady her. Seeing how pale she was with rage, I couldn't help but chide Su Qingfeng. "No matter what, she's still your own mother." Su Qingfeng was still fuming. He shot me a glare before storming off with Lin Qiushuang. In his eyes, anyone who stood in the way of his relationship with Lin Qiushuang was the enemy. Su Qingfeng's mother had looked after me since I was a child. Seeing how distraught she was, I immediately asked for time off and took her home. The moment Wang Meifeng stepped into my home, she took my hand and promised, "Weixia, don't you worry, no matter what happens, you're the only daughter-in-law I'll ever accept." Hearing this, I fell silent for a moment. There's no future left for me and Su Qingfeng. That evening, after my mother had soothed the weeping Wang Meifeng to sleep, I went out alone to buy her toiletries for the next day. After Su Qingfeng started working, his parents moved back to their hometown and only visited during holidays. That apartment became his personal property, a gift from his parents to help him settle down and start a family. But just as I reached the first floor, I ran into Su Qingfeng returning home, and Lin Qiushuang was with him. The moment Lin Qiushuang saw me, she marched straight over, her eyes red with hurt. "Xia xia," she choked out, "no matter how much you like Qingfeng, you can't resort to such underhanded tricks, trying to get his mother to break us up, and I considered you my best friend. You've gone too far." In this new life, I didn't message Su Qingfeng's mother, nor did I contact Lin Qiushuang, yet this accusation was still pinned on me. if you like him, I'll step aside and let you have Qing Feng. Just stop tormenting me, please. I have no one in this city, only this job to rely on. I truly can't compete with you, Lin Qiushuang cried out. Her voice fragile and pitiful, her words made it sound like I was the villain. Her pitiful and fragile appearance only fueled Su Qingfeng's protective instincts. He strode forward, shoved me hard, and glared at me with pure hatred as he held Lin Qiushuang in his arms. Su Weixia, no matter how many schemes you plot, I could never love a vicious woman like you. Your affection disgusts me. Su Qingfeng spat out furiously. His eyes were fierce, his words sharp as daggers, piercing straight through my heart. My eyes reddened slightly as I met his disappointed gaze. I forced a bitter smile and said, "Don't worry, I don't like you anymore. Besides, I'll be going abroad soon. We won't see each other again." The young man before me was no longer the one who promised to keep me safe. It was my own stubbornness that ran too deep all along. Su Qingfeng's gaze faltered slightly at my expression, a flicker of hesitation in his eyes as he took a step forward. He convinced himself he didn't care for Su Weixia, yet seeing the profound disappointment in her eyes sent his heart into restless turmoil. "I wish you both happiness." I let out a long sigh, glanced at the two of them, turned sideways to walk out, and didn't look back. Su Qingfeng turned and glanced at me, but before he could figure out why he was feeling down, Lin Qiushuang tugged at him. The Lin Qiushuang before him, blushing and charming, said coquettishly, "Let's go, Qingfeng. Let's go upstairs. I'm staying at your place tonight." Looking at the beautiful, blushing woman before him, Su Qingfeng was instantly swept into a world of tenderness. Later, the day for going abroad arrived. My parents and Wang Meifeng saw me off at the airport. They didn't leave until I had entered the terminal building. With over an hour until departure, I sat in the waiting lounge reviewing materials about the company I'd be training with. This overseas assignment promised to be more challenging than my regular work. The company sent me specifically to learn the advanced techniques from that foreign firm. "So you're Su Weixia." Moments later, a strange man's voice suddenly came from above me, low and tinged with a hint of flirtatiousness. I looked up to see a man standing before me wearing sunglasses and a black earring, dressed like a celebrity. When he noticed me looking, the corner of his mouth quirked up in a roguish grin, just like a troublemaker. I didn't want to get involved with someone like that, so I grabbed my things and moved to a corner. He seemed displeased by my reaction and promptly sat down beside me. Taking off his sunglasses, he looked at me and said, "I just asked if you were Su Weixia. Why did you run away?" Seeing how persistent he was, I replied with a serious expression, "Yes, that's me. May I ask what this is about?" "Perfect. I'm your colleague for the overseas study program," he exclaimed excitedly, grabbing my hand and shaking it. "My name is Shinken. Ken as in brilliant. Looking forward to working with you." His smile was radiant, just like his name, but drawing on years of experience. I still pulled my hand back. "The company never mentioned adding another colleague," I said warily. No sooner had I spoken than the company boss called directly. I quickly answered, "Hello, boss, Xiaoxia, has Shinken arrived at the airport yet?" The usually stern boss suddenly softened his tone, even carrying a hint of a smile. At that, I whipped my head around to stare at the nonchalant man beside me. He was lounging back in his seat with one leg crossed over the other, exuding an air of lazy insolence. Noticing my gaze, he tilted his head and gave me a casual wave with a grin. I fell silent for a long moment, then averted my eyes and spoke into my phone. "We're here." After boarding the plane, my phone chimed once. The message was from Lin Qiushuang. "Su Weixia, I win this time." Then, a photo came through. It was a picture of her snuggled in Su Qingfeng's arms. Su Qingfeng was shirtless, covered in hickeys, and sleeping soundly while holding Lin Qiushuang. My fingers tightened around the phone. My gaze fixed on the screen as my vision blurred and tears fell onto the glass. I'd been in love with Su Qingfeng for 10 years, ever since high school. He was that dashing young man, and I truly believed we were perfect for each other, that we'd end up together. But childhood sweethearts can never compete with fate's sudden arrangements. I had genuinely decided to stop loving him, but seeing him lying in bed with Lin Qiushuang sent waves of pain radiating from my chest through my entire body, leaving me breathless. "The first person you ever had feelings for is truly unforgettable." Shinken turned and froze when he saw my teary eyes, then frantically pulled out a tissue to wipe my tears. "Why are you crying all of a sudden? Are you afraid of flying? Is it really that scary?" he asked, puzzled. In the commotion, he accidentally glanced at my phone and saw a naked couple embracing each other. Everything suddenly made sense to him. Did your boyfriend cheat on you? The next day. He made a guess and immediately started comforting me. Don't cry, it's not that big of a deal, no need to shed tears over a guy like that. There are plenty of men in this world who are way better looking than that scumbag. Take me, for example, I've got the looks and the brains, plus, I'm deeply passionate, I'm practically falling for myself. I turned my head to look at him. Shinkan's eyes were as dark as ink, deep and intense. His eyes crinkled as he grinned at me excitedly. So, am I better than that guy? I nodded and said, you're more conceited than him. What do you mean? Aren't I better than some scumbag? Seeing I'd stopped crying, Shinkan continued teasing me. He's not my boyfriend, they're in a proper relationship. As the flight announcement signaled our imminent departure, I powered off my phone and turned to the window, quietly wiping away my tears. So you've got a crush on him, Shinkan remarked. Just a pathetic infatuation that made him sick to even think about, hardly worth mentioning. Meanwhile, Wang Meifeng rushed into Su Qingfeng's house straight from the airport. Seeing Su Qingfeng and Lin Xiushuang lying in the same bed, she flew into a rage and slapped the soundly sleeping Su Qingfeng awake. Have you no conscience? Wei Xia is leaving the country and you couldn't even see her off. She's always been so good to you even if you don't have feelings for her. You should at least show some basic human decency. Wang Meifeng's hands trembled with fury. Seeing the two lying together, her heart sank with final disappointment. Su Qingfeng opened his bleary eyes, shielding Lin Xiushuang behind him as he snapped, Mom, will you ever stop? If Su Weixia wants to go abroad, just let her, even if she dies, it's none of my business. Wang Meifeng's heart sank. She never imagined the son she had raised for over 20 years could utter such cruel words. She glanced at the two of them, completely disheartened, and said flatly, do whatever you want from now on, your father and I won't interfere anymore. After that, Wang Meifeng never visited Su Qingfeng again. Su Qingfeng, however, remained unfazed and settled into a quiet life with Lin Xiushuang, but during holidays, the sight of his empty fridge unsettled him. His mother used to stock it full during visits, yet she hadn't come since last time, not even a phone call. Still, he thought nothing of it, but that evening, he was swamped with work and instinctively brought a project to Su Weixia's office, hoping she could lend a hand. Su Weixia had never been one to turn him down. Where's Weixia? He glanced at the empty office chair and asked without thinking. Fang Yuanyuan looked puzzled. She lifted her head and immediately spotted the documents in his hand. With a hint of displeasure, she said, Team Leader Su, have you forgotten already? Weixia went abroad for her studies a while ago. She can't help you now. You'll have to handle your own work. Su Qingfeng was momentarily taken aback. He had been so swamped that he'd forgotten Su Weixia had gone overseas. He glanced down and saw that her desk was empty, save for a small succulent plant that probably cost around 10 yuan. It was the one he had given her. When he first came to the company, he saw a street vendor downstairs and bought something on a whim. Casually giving it to Su Weixia, he remembered how delighted she seemed at that moment. Yet when Su Weixia packed up all her belongings, she left behind the very gift he had given her. Qingfeng. Returning from the break room, Lin Xiushuang spotted Su Qingfeng and ran toward him with a smile, immediately wrapping her arms around his. You're here to see me, aren't you? She beamed. Su Qingfeng gave an acknowledging grunt. I should get back to work then, Su Qingfeng said absent-mindedly, waving the file in his hand. Lin Xiushuang nodded with a smile, glanced around the office, then strode back to her desk with her head held high, her face glowing with delight. Su Qingfeng isn't here for you, he's looking for Weixia, Fang Yuanyuan remarked while typing on her keyboard. Lin Xiushuang's smile instantly froze. Don't be a sour grape, Su Weixia left ages ago. Why would he come looking for her? Lin Xiushuang retorted skeptically, casting a sidelong glance at Fang Yuanyuan with a hint of sarcasm. Fang Yuanyuan smiled without saying a word. Lin Xiushuang grew flustered seeing how composed she looked, and made a phone call as soon as she got off work. Bzzz. The phone on the table vibrated. Shinkan glanced at the phone, saw the word bestie pop up on the screen, turned to look at me in the kitchen, and called out, Weixia, your bestie is calling. My hand stilled for a moment as I was scooping rice. I only have one best friend, Lin Xiushuang. We've been inseparable since college, and I always thought we'd be best friends forever, but she framed me using those text messages, and even went so far as to use her own death to provoke Su Qingfeng into killing me. I scooped rice into bowls and walked out, hanging up the phone without hesitation, but moments later, Lin Xiushuang started bombarding my phone with frantic messages. A quick glance told me the gist was to stay away from Su Qingfeng, though I'd already blocked all his contacts long ago, so I blocked her right then and there. Shinken glanced at me with a chuckle, then dug into the meal I'd prepared without ceremony. I fell silent. The company put us up in the same apartment building, but Shinken couldn't cook to save his life. He'd always mooch meals off me. After a few days, he probably felt bad about it and started pitching in with grocery runs and dishwashing. The new technology the company wanted to develop was challenging, so I made a point of staying at the factory every day to study it, but Shinken was always sneaking out, and management never seemed to care. I had no idea what he was up to, nor did I particularly want to know. My only focus was nailing the company's assignments so I could get that promotion and raise back home. Seasons came and went, one day blurring into the next, and just like that, 2 years slipped by. I was summoned back by my boss on a spring afternoon. I had hoped to wait for Shinken so we could return together, but my boss insisted I come back first. The moment I returned, I was promoted to vice president of the company. On my first day back at the office, I dressed in a sharp yet comfortable outfit, a white shirt under a blazer. I'd curled my hair and put on makeup, and the moment I walked in, every head turned my way. I wasn't the least bit surprised by their reaction. "Hello everyone, I'm Su Weixia, the newly appointed deputy director." I walked in my high heels toward Lin Qiushuang, whose face was full of shock, stopped at my former workstation, and glanced around at everyone as I spoke. Seeing this, Fang Yuanyuan started clapping, and the others quickly followed suit. "Team leader, you're finally back. I've missed you so much." Li Yu, who used to be quite reckless, had matured a lot, but the moment she saw me, she still threw her arms around me without a second thought. "I've missed you too." I chuckled softly. Su Qingfeng heard the noise and approached, pausing briefly at the sight of the familiar figure, his pupils contracting slightly. He called out with a mix of doubt and hope, "Weixia." My eyes widened faintly as a dazed sensation washed over me. Even after 2 years, I could still recognize Su Qingfeng's voice, but before I could move, Lin Qiushuang hurried toward Su Qingfeng, linked her arm with his, and walked over to me, calling out with a smile, "Qingfeng and I are getting married next week. You all must come." At her words, everyone turned to look at me in unison. "Congratulations," I said with a slight smile. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they saw me smile, but Su Qingfeng frowned. He stared straight at me, trying to detect a different emotion in my eyes, but found nothing. "Is everyone here?" A warm, deep male voice rang out. Hearing that familiar voice, I was taken aback. Turning toward the door, I saw Shinken standing there, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. He was dressed as stylishly and strikingly as ever, still wearing his black earring. Where did this hottie come from? So handsome. All the women in the office stood up, staring at him with unwavering intensity. Shinken was truly striking, with sharp, well-defined features. His smile was radiant and charming, captivating anyone who looked at him for more than a moment. He walked toward me and pulled me into a tight embrace. His large hand patted the small of my back, his voice low and suggestive. Seeing this, Su Qingfeng's face instantly darkened. He rushed over, pulled us apart, and forcibly dragged me out of the office. Lin Qiushuang chased after us when she saw what happened. He dragged me up to the company rooftop, which is usually where employees take their afternoon breaks. But since it was work hours, the place was nearly empty. My wrist ached from his tight grip. I winced and had to use all my strength to pull my hand back. Before I could even speak, Su Qingfeng started interrogating me. "What's your relationship with that guy? Are you two together? What's it to you?" I gave him a cool, dismissive glance. My calm expression only infuriated him more. "I'm just looking out for you," he snapped. "That guy is bad news from the moment you lay eyes on him. Don't you dare get involved with Qingfeng." Lin Qiushuang cut him off. She saw the two of us standing together and charged over, slapping me across the face. Her eyes were red with rage as she screamed, "You shameless bitch, back in the country for 1 day and already trying to steal someone else's man." I slapped her right back. "I owe you nothing, and I didn't seduce your man. If you dare lay a hand on me again, I'll make you pay double." I shot her a cold glare before turning and heading back to my office. The company set up a private office for me and even assigned me a secretary, and it's a male secretary. I tilted my head to glance at Shinken, who was holding an ice pack to my face, took the ice from him, and motioned for him to sit down. Looking at his still carefree demeanor, I asked in confusion, "How did you end up as my secretary? After studying abroad, shouldn't you have gotten a promotion like I did?" "I appreciate your confidence in me, Manager Su," but with my skills, how could I possibly get promoted? Shinken replied with a laugh. Fair point, I said thoughtfully. Back when he was studying overseas, Shinken was never consistent with his efforts. He'd work hard one day and slack off the next. He probably didn't learn much, which is why he was assigned to be my secretary. What do you mean by that's fine? At least try to sweet-talk me a little. Shinken looked genuinely hurt. For some reason, I found his expression amusing and couldn't help but chuckle. But when I glanced sideways, I spotted Su Qingfeng standing outside the door. My office was set up right next to his workstation, and I could see his desk just by looking up. When he saw me smile, his face flushed with anger, his eyes fixed on me with an intense glare, but I ignored him and motioned for Shinken to close the door. On my first day in the position, I reviewed the previous projects and immediately spotted an issue. There's an error in this expense report, fix it and bring it to my office. I placed the file on Lin Qiushuang's desk. She's now the team lead in my former position, and the issue lies with the part she handled. But the moment I turned around, she abruptly stood up, her chair crashing to the floor with a loud bang that startled the entire office, with red-rimmed eyes and a face full of resentment. She glared at me and said indignantly, "Is this just because Qingfeng doesn't like you? Do you have to take it out on me?" Her words immediately sparked murmurs throughout the office, with everyone thinking I was targeting Lin Qiushuang. Work is work, I would never mix personal feelings into it. Besides, your expense report clearly has issues. If you can't even handle this properly, then you're not fit to be team lead, I said expressionlessly. Fang Yuanyuan leaned in for a closer look, her brow furrowing at the figures on the document. Team leader Lin, you've added a few extra zeros here, she remarked. Vice President Su only asked you to make corrections. Why are you pinning such a serious accusation on her? Lin Qiushuang glanced down at the document, a flicker of panic in her eyes. She had indeed made a mistake, but the situation had already escalated beyond her control, leaving her unsure how to resolve it. I could see her unease, but I had no time to waste on her. Bring it to me when you're done organizing. I tossed out that remark and walked away without another word. By the end of the workday, instead of receiving the documents from Lin Qiushuang, I was met with Su Qingfeng's angry confrontation. He kicked my office door open, slammed the documents I'd given Lin Qiushuang onto the desk, and startled the dozing Shinken so badly he tumbled off the couch. An earthquake. He scrambled up from the floor, rubbing his bleary eyes. Su Qingfeng grew even more furious upon seeing Shinken. He slammed the desk and shouted, "Su Weixia, if you have a problem, take it up with me. Stop bullying Qiushuang by dumping all the grunt work on her. She's just a delicate woman. Asking her to revise a document counts as bullying now," I retorted, my gaze turning icy. "Don't you have a secretary to boss around? What gives you the right to order Qiushuang? Let her sleep in the office." Su Qingfeng glared at Shinken, who had so little to do that he was napping. The thought of Lin Qiushuang, so wrong she was in tears, made his blood boil. Hearing this, I furrowed my brow. Hey, what do you mean I'm sleeping in the office? It's after hours. Where I sleep is none of your business. Shinken had had enough. Pointing at the wall clock, he said in disbelief, "It's right there. How can you not see such a huge clock? And what do you mean by bullying? Since when can't a supervisor assign tasks to a subordinate? If you're going to coddle her like this, just have her resign and stay home. No need for her to work anymore." Shinken left Su Qingfeng speechless. Seeing Su Qingfeng too furious to speak, Shinken took my arm and we walked straight out of the office. "Come on, I'm taking you to get something to eat." Once we stepped out of the office, Shinken lost his earlier boldness, released my hand, and hesitated for a moment before saying, "Weixia, don't blame me for stepping into your business. That guy was just infuriating." "Well done." I patted him lightly on the shoulder and laughed heartily. Seeing me laugh, Shinken started laughing too. "But I heard from the boss that you were brought in directly. Which company did you work for before?" I asked casually. Shinken immediately became evasive, stammering, "I'm, transferred from another branch office." I knew he was lying, but I didn't call him out on it. Time flew by. And soon it was time for Su Qingfeng and Lin Qiushuang's wedding. They invited all our colleagues from the company, except for me. Su Qingfeng didn't even invite his own parents. Apparently, Lin Qiushuang didn't want to see them. I looked at Su Qingfeng's parents and felt a pang of unease. It's fine if they didn't invite me. I didn't want to go anyway, but the groom's parents not being there just doesn't sit right. But before long, Su Qingfeng, who was supposed to be at the hotel for his wedding, showed up at my doorstep. with Lin Xiaoshuang in her wedding dress right behind him, just in time to hear his confession to me. Weixia, will you be with me? If you say yes, I won't go through with the wedding. Su Qingfeng looked at me, his eyes full of hope. During the 2 years Su Weixia was away, he often thought of her, counting down the days until her return, but the moment she came back, she brought Xingken with her. In a moment of confusion, he agreed to marry Lin Xiaoshuang. Yet his mind was completely consumed by thoughts of Su Weixia, he just couldn't let her go. As I looked at Su Qingfeng confessing his feelings to me, I couldn't help but find it utterly ridiculous. 2 years ago, he cast me aside like I was worthless trash, saying I disgusted him, and now he wants to be with me. You should go back to your wedding, don't waste such an important day here with me. Besides, I don't have feelings for you anymore, I said bluntly, giving him a slight push backward. I don't want to meddle in their relationship, nor do I want to relive that searing pain of a blade piercing through my heart. Every time I recall my past life, I feel like I can't breathe. I remember it all too clearly. After Su Qingfeng became vice president, he trampled me underfoot, tormented me, and stood by while business partners humiliated me. How could you not love me? I saw your diary when I went into your room. You wrote that you've loved me since high school. How can you just stop loving me like this? Su Qingfeng's eyes were bloodshot as he gripped my arm and shook me violently, demanding answers in a harsh tone. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept that I might not have feelings for him. You shameless woman, how dare you deny seducing Qingfeng? Lin Xiaoshuang's eyes blazed with fury. She shoved me to the ground, pounced on me, and grabbed my collar, snarling. You think you've won by luring Su Qingfeng away on my wedding day? Don't you dare dream of beating me. Never, ever. Xingcan, who had been in the living room, rushed out upon hearing the commotion. I was horrified to see Lin Xiaoshuang straddling me with her hands around my neck, and immediately pulled her off and helped me up. If you're not getting married, why are you causing trouble at Weixia's house? Xingcan glanced at the red marks on my neck and instantly flew into a rage, shoving both of them out. Get lost, stop bothering Weixia, she doesn't owe you anything. The moment Su Qingfeng saw Xingcan coming out of my house, his eyes instantly turned bloodshot. Weixia, you're not actually dating this good-for-nothing guy, are you? Su Qingfeng snapped, pointing an accusing finger at Xingcan. Yes, I am. I replied with an icy glare. What could he possibly offer you? Su Qingfeng was seething with resentment, completely oblivious to Lin Xiaoshuang's visible anger beside him. I love him, I declared firmly, taking Xingcan's hand with unwavering determination in my eyes. When you truly care for someone, you don't constantly think about taking. That's how I once felt about Su Qingfeng, but now that I no longer love him, I just want to stay as far away from him as possible. Xingcan froze for a moment, a ripple of emotion stirring in his eyes as he instinctively tightened his grip on my hand. Su Qingfeng's parents heard the commotion and came out from the living room. After glancing at the marks on my neck and then at the 2 people outside the door, they flew into a rage. The 2 of them worked together to push Su Qingfeng and Lin Xiaoshuang into the opposite room, then launched into a furious tirade against Su Qingfeng. Mom, Dad, I regret it. Su Qingfeng's eyes were red as he lowered his gaze, his heart wrenching at the news that Su Weixia was going to be with someone else. His parents froze for a moment, their hearts aching with pity and helplessness as they saw him in this state. I turned and left his place, heading back to my hometown, but Lin Xiaoshuang wasn't having it. With red-rimmed eyes, she pointed at herself and cried out, "What about me? Don't you love me anymore?" Lin Xiaoshuang asked, her voice thick with hurt. Eyes glistening with unshed tears. Then do you love me? Su Qingfeng shot back abruptly. Lin Xiaoshuang paused for a moment before snapping back to reality, clinging to Su Qingfeng's arm. She coaxed, "Of course I love you. I love you more than anyone else, more than Su Weixia ever could." Her eyes darted away as she spoke these words. Su Qingfeng shoved her away abruptly, his gaze swept across the bleak, grimy room before letting out a bitter laugh. With bloodshot eyes, he choked out, "If you really loved me, why wouldn't you think about our future? Why never consider my situation? Don't you realize I've run out of money to support you?" Ever since Lin Xiaoshuang moved in with him, he had been footing all the bills, rent, groceries, everything. Lin Xiaoshuang never lifted a finger. He cooked all the meals, handled every household chore, yet she splurged on designer clothes and handbags every single week. He'd blown through years of savings just to keep up with her demands. He was driving himself insane, broke, stuck in a dead-end job with no promotion in sight, and not even a raise to show for it. After Su Weixia left, his life spiraled into complete chaos. he couldn't stand living like this anymore. Ching Feng, noticing his distress, Lin Qiushuang switched to a gentle approach. She took his hand and coaxed, let's make this work, okay, I'll be more careful with money from now on. Su Qingfeng remained silent, exhaustion weighing him down. He sent out messages to dismiss the dozen or so guests who had gathered for their wedding celebration. It was supposed to be their wedding day, yet only colleagues showed up. Lin Qiushuang had even barred his parents from attending. This whole ceremony felt meaningless, just another one of her impulsive whims. The bedroom door clicked shut. Lin Qiushuang was locked out, her face instantly darkened, and she clenched her fists, hearing noises outside. Lin Qiushuang hurried to the door and listened intently. No need to see me out, I'll head back on my own, but I still want to say, your cooking remains absolutely delicious, Shinken said, gazing at me with a touch of reluctance in his eyes. Today, I trailed off, looking at him hesitantly before lowering my voice to apologize. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have called you my boyfriend, you shouldn't have been dragged into this. I thought it was something serious, why so formal? Shinken chuckled. I stared into his eyes, momentarily stunned. A clear sense of disappointment flickered in the depths of his gaze. Well, I'm really going now. My friend asked me to grab drinks at the bar. Shinken glanced at me, pointed toward the elevator, and started walking in that direction. But he kept looking back every couple of steps, seeming quite reluctant to leave. Shall I walk you out? I asked, sighing as I noticed he'd barely made any progress after all that time. All right. Shinken immediately changed his tune, replying with a beaming smile. After the two of us had walked further away, Lin Qiushuang emerged from the room. She stared at the closed elevator doors, gripping her phone tightly, a venomous glint flashing in her eyes. Su Weixia, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. With that, she followed after them. The next day, rumors started spreading around the company that I was keeping Shinken as a sugar baby, that he used to work as a bar host and I pulled strings to get him hired as my secretary. The gossip spread like wildfire, and there were even photos to back it up. One photo shows Shinken patting my head, the other is a picture of Shinken taken inside a bar. I saw both photos, and the one with Shinken and me was clearly taken downstairs at my place. At the time, a dry leaf had landed in my hair, and Shinken helped me remove it. That's how that photo came to be. I didn't even have to think twice to know who took them. There's no one else but Lin Qiushuang. I didn't want to bother with these baseless rumors, but those in the office who have it out for me started mocking my relationship with Shinken, even speculating about which bar he works at and making him out to be worthless. I slammed the documents onto Lin Qiushuang's desk. Lin Qiushuang sneered coldly and said, what do I have to apologize for? I'm open and honest about my relationship, unlike someone who started scheming as soon as they got promoted, and probably has more than just Shinken in the picture. Right, what nonsense are you spouting? My relationship with Shinken is completely innocent. Don't think you can make up lies just because you snapped a couple of photos. I clenched my fists and said angrily. The people in the office, seeing how agitated I was, started whispering even more loudly. The boss will be here soon. Once we check how Shinken got hired, we'll know the truth. I refuse to believe just anyone can waltz in and become the vice president's secretary without proper procedure. Lin Qiushuang sneered. She had already checked with HR. Shinken was hired without even going through an interview. Something's definitely wrong here. The moment I heard the boss was coming, I panicked and snapped, if you have a problem, take it up with me. Shinken has nothing to do with this. Lin Qiushuang leaned close to my ear and hissed in a voice only we could hear. Su Weixia, since you made me the laughingstock of the entire company, don't expect to get off unscathed either. Don't you dare. I gritted through clenched teeth. But the next moment, the boss rushed in, walked up to Lin Qiushuang, and asked anxiously, what's wrong with Shinken? You just called me saying something happened between Shinken and Weixia. Boss, it's nothing, just a personal matter, I can handle it, I quickly said. Shinken absolutely must not be fired because of me. The boss had just breathed a sigh of relief when Lin Qiushuang pushed past me, stepped up to the boss, shot me a cold glare, and started tattling. Boss, there's an employee who got in through connections, and what's more, they don't even have an education. Shouldn't we get rid of someone like that? Just look at Shinken's thuggish appearance, anyone can tell he's uneducated. Only a man like him would stoop to chasing Su Weixia. The boss frowned and snapped, who got in through connections, and has no education. We're a subsidiary of Shin Corporation, for heaven's sake, who dares pull strings right under my nose? Shinken strolled in through the entrance, leisurely carrying breakfast from the West Street food stall. "What's the big commotion this time?" he chuckled, seeing the crowd gathered together. The moment Lin Xiaoshuang spotted him, she couldn't resist stirring the pot. "Boss." It was Vice President Su who's keeping Xing Ken as his sugar baby. He even pulled strings to get him hired as a secretary. But Xing Ken is just some bar host. How could someone like that possibly handle this kind of work? "What?" the boss exclaimed, his face a mask of shock. Xing Ken's smile froze upon hearing those words. Just because he took some time off to grab breakfast, suddenly he's a bar host, and someone's sugar baby. "Boss, you have to fire Xing Ken, and Su Weixia needs to be severely punished." Xing Ken treats the company like his own home, coming and going as he pleases. There's no discipline at all. Seeing the boss's expression change, Lin Xiaoshuang continued. She's always had a good relationship with the boss and has introduced him to plenty of big shots in private, with just a word from her. Those two are bound to face consequences. "Lin Xiaoshuang, don't push your luck," I snapped, my anger boiling over. I glanced sideways at the boss and, noticing his hesitant expression, quickly stepped forward to explain. "These are all Lin Xiaoshuang's baseless assumptions. Xing Ken and I are simply in a professional superior-subordinate relationship." I had no idea how Xing Ken got into the company and felt completely in the dark about it, watching the boss approach Xing Ken. I grabbed his arm and declared with unwavering determination, "If you fire Xing Ken over these fabricated accusations, I'm quitting too." Su Qingfeng had been watching the drama unfold from the doorway, but upon hearing this, he stepped in to intervene. "Weixia, why are you going this far for someone like Xing Ken? Isn't this the job you've always dreamed of?" He stepped in to stop me, pulling me aside, but even as I said this, the boss still walked over to Xing Ken. "Are you really being kept?" he asked in disbelief, his voice barely above a whisper. "I wish I were, but President Su doesn't even look twice at me." Xing Ken's face was full of regret as he spoke, but moments later, his gaze turned icy. He shot Lin Xiaoshuang a cold glance and said sharply, "I don't know who's spreading these baseless rumors. I don't really care, but President Su is a young woman. Isn't it damaging for her to be caught up in this mess?" After speaking, Xing Ken cast a meaningful glance at the boss. The boss immediately understood. Turning to Lin Xiaoshuang, he said, "Xiaoshuang, don't bother coming in tomorrow. Go to accounting this afternoon to settle your final pay." Lin Xiaoshuang's smile froze upon hearing this. "Boss, shouldn't you be the one firing Xing Ken?" "Why me?" She panicked instantly, protesting indignantly. "It's clearly Xing Ken who's been acting shady. Why should she be the one to leave? She hasn't done anything wrong." "Because there's no way Xing Ken would be kept by Weixia. Your workplace rumors have already affected both of them, and you're disrupting other colleagues' work. You have to go. This isn't up for discussion," the boss stated firmly. "Boss, are you trying to protect Xing Ken?" Lin Xiaoshuang clenched her fists and said angrily. Her words sparked murmurs among those who held grudges against me, all accusing the boss of being unfair. "Xing Ken doesn't need money. Besides, he graduated from MIT and was brought in by me. What does he have to do with Weixia?" "Are you implying that I'm the one playing favorites?" the boss retorted coldly. Lin Xiaoshuang was left speechless. She glanced sideways at Su Qingfeng, frantically signaling for him to plead on her behalf, but just as he opened his mouth to speak, the boss cut him off. "All right, everyone get back to work, and stop spreading rumors." With that, the boss walked away. My eyes darkened. The boss clearly treated Xing Ken differently, even going so far as to heed his words. Fired employee Lin Xiaoshuang slammed the documents on the desk in fury, then whipped her head around to glare at me with venom in her eyes. I furrowed my brow slightly and was about to speak when Xing Ken stepped in front of her line of sight. "Stop damaging company property," he said impatiently. "Just grab your things and go." "Your position?" Xing Ken paused, turning to ask me. "President Su, who do you think should take her place?" "Let's go with Yuan Yuan. She has the most seniority and strongest capabilities," I replied, following his lead and appointing Fang Yuanyuan to replace her as team lead. I heard Fang Yuanyuan was originally supposed to be the team lead, but Lin Xiaoshuang ended up taking her spot just by cozying up to the boss and treating him to a few meals. "Now things are back to where they should be. Thank you, President Su," Fang Yuanyuan exclaimed excitedly. Lin Xiaoshuang was absolutely fuming when she heard this. Su Qingfeng wanted to speak up for her, but as just a team lead himself, he had no authority to intervene in personnel appointments. He had no choice but to take time off work to drive Lin Xiaoshuang home, but the moment they got home, Lin Xiaoshuang flew into a rage, smashing everything in sight to pieces. how dare she, who does Su Weixia think she is, treating me like this, and that Shinken, he's not even her boyfriend, so why does he always take her side, damn them, they all deserve to die. Lin Qiushuang's eyes were bloodshot as she viciously stabbed a sofa cushion with a fruit knife. What did you say? Weixia isn't with Shinken, Su Qingfeng exclaimed, his voice trembling with emotion. What business is it of yours who she's with? You're not allowed to like her, you can only like me, Lin Qiushuang shrieked hysterically. Su Qingfeng watched her outburst, his brow furrowed deeply. Before they got together, Lin Qiushuang had been gentle and sweet, but the moment they became a couple, she completely changed. This transformation both frightened and repulsed him. After Lin Qiushuang finally calmed down, Su Qingfeng left for the office, but when he returned home, Lin Qiushuang was nowhere to be found. Just as he was about to call her, he saw the bank card transaction alert. His bank account balance showed a mere 0.05. All his savings of 100,000 were gone. Lin Qiushuang had the card and knew the PIN. She must have spent it all. Su Qingfeng was completely devastated. This was his entire life savings. Without that money, he wouldn't even have enough to eat this month. He frantically called Lin Qiushuang over and over, but no one ever picked up. And his messages went unanswered. Lin Qiushuang, he roared, kicking the table hard, his chest burning with fury. For the next few days, he survived on instant noodles, but while eating, he suddenly broke down in tears, completely falling apart. If only he had realized sooner that the one he truly loved was Su Weixia. If he had been with her and gone abroad to study together, he wouldn't have had to suffer through all this. He's desperately missing Su Weixia right now. Weixia. I had just returned from dinner and a movie with Shinken, and was about to unlock the door when I heard someone call my name from behind. A bit startled, I slowly turned my head. Su Qingfeng looked utterly exhausted, with messy hair and heavy dark circles under his eyes, a far cry from the radiant, cheerful man I used to know. I glanced around his room. The whole place was in disarray, with a cup of instant noodles sitting on the desk. My expression darkened as I tightened my grip on the keys and murmured, "Is something wrong?" I can't muster an ounce of sympathy for him anymore. In my previous life, he forced me to drink until I landed in the ICU, nearly died on the streets, lived in constant fear every day, and was ultimately stabbed to death by him. I truly cannot bring myself to feel sorry for him. Weixia. His eyes instantly reddened as he looked at me, voice choked with emotion as he called my name. I looked up at him with an indifferent gaze. Su Qingfeng's heart was pierced by my cold stare. Trembling, he gripped my hands, his eyes red as he pleaded, "Weixia, I've finally realized, I don't love Lin Qiushuang, it's you I love. When I saw you with Shinken, my heart ached so much I could barely breathe. I truly love you." He wept, pouring out his devotion. Hearing this, my eyes grew moist and reddened. He thought I was moved by his words, stepping forward to embrace me as he pleaded, "Weixia, give me a chance, let's start over, okay, I'll cherish you for the rest of my life." His words were tender and sweet. In a past life, I would have believed him, but he hurt me too deeply. The pain still lingers, it hurts so much I can't breathe. I shoved him away, unable to contain my fury any longer, jabbing a finger at my own chest. I spat, "I told you I loved you before, but you stabbed me right in the heart. How dare you say you like me now? Do you think I, Su Weixia, am cheap and easy to push around, someone you can just summon and dismiss at will?" "Weixia, I'm not." Su Qingfeng wanted to explain himself, but he had no defense. I couldn't hold back a cold laugh, but my eyes reddened, burning with a stinging heat. I tried to force the tears back, yet they still escaped and trickled from the corners of my eyes. "Su Qingfeng, you don't deserve to talk about liking anyone, and I will never like you again." I wiped away my tears and poked him hard in the chest. With that, I turned and went back to my room. I paused in the entryway to collect myself before going inside. "Weixia, dinner's ready," my mother called out the moment I stepped in. I later found out that my neighbor Su Qingfeng had stood outside our house all night. Even if he gets down on his knees now, I won't look back. Shinken suddenly asked me to meet at a bar, the same place where I'd endured so much humiliation in my past life. I didn't want to go, but he insisted. So I went to take a quick look. I answered. The moment I arrived, several people around him stood up. "Hello, boss lady, hey, sis-in-law," they all shouted in unison. I noticed everyone was looking in my direction, so I glanced behind me but didn't see anyone else. "Are you talking about me?" I asked, pointing at myself in confusion. "Who else would I be talking about? Sister-in-law, why don't you sit next to Big Brother?" It'll be easier to chat. A man in a suit pulled me over to Shinkan's side and gestured for me to sit down with a smile. Big brother. I tilted my head to look at Shinkan. Maybe he'd had a bit to drink, his face was flushed, and his gaze held a hazy, ambiguous warmth. Even so, I'm not your sister-in-law. I glanced around at everyone and said with a light laugh, but moments later, I realized they all looked somewhat familiar. Racking my brain, it dawned on me that these were all successful scions from affluent families, each with substantial assets, and Shinkan, Shing, the chairman of the Shing Corporation, a global top 10 conglomerate, also shares that surname. His name is Shing Shiming. Who is Shing Shiming to you? I turned my head and asked Shinkan. His father, of course, didn't you know? Sis, bro, that's not cool. How could you keep your family background from your wife? One of them spoke up indignantly on my behalf. Shinkan shot him a cold glare at those words, realizing he had spoken out of turn. The man immediately shut his mouth. I nodded, picked up my bag, and said with a hollow smile, great, well, if there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Shinkan quickly grabbed my hand and pulled me back onto the couch, softening his voice as he said, are you upset? Why would I be upset? It's none of my business, I replied with a laugh. The person who had spoken earlier, noticing the tension between us, quickly stepped forward with a bottle of alcohol and a guilty expression, saying, my mistake, I shouldn't have spoken out of turn, I'll punish myself with a bottle. With that, he started drinking straight from the bottle. That's hard liquor, it could get dangerous. I'd been forced to drink the exact same stuff in my past life, and I knew exactly how much it would hurt. I snatched the glass from his hand and urged, I'm not angry anymore, please stop drinking. Hearing this, the man finally cracked a smile, relieved to see he was okay. I settled back next to Shinkan and asked, you didn't call me over just to watch your buddy drink, did you? Of course not. He gave my arm a light tap and tilted his chin toward the front. Following his gaze, I focused my eyes and my pupils contracted. It was Lin Qiushuang. Su Qingfeng had been searching for her for half a month. Yet here she was in a bar, surrounded by several men who looked like they had deep pockets. She was dressed head to toe in designer labels, laughing happily and clinking glasses with the men as they drank. Do you know Lin Qiushuang? She often comes here for drinks and knows quite a few big shots. I heard she dumped her broke boyfriend and found herself a wealthy one. The guy with his arm around her waist is her current boyfriend. My gaze darkened as I tugged lightly on Shinkan's sleeve and whispered, I want to go home. I don't want to hear anything about Lin Qiushuang right now, and I have no interest in what happens to her in the future. I'll drive you. Shinkan grabbed his car keys, glanced at the group still drinking, and declared generously, it's on me tonight. You all keep enjoying yourselves, I'm heading out first. Hearing that, I quickened my pace. Shinkan and I were from completely different worlds. Weixia, what's wrong? He grabbed my arm, noticing my expression had shifted, and hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have invited you over without asking. Shinkan, I looked up at him. He responded. I gazed at the man before me, his eyes clear and profound, his features strikingly defined. Shinkan was truly handsome. Actually, we're not really right for each other, I said softly. I know Shinkan has feelings for me, but we're just from two completely different worlds. Shinkan froze for a moment upon hearing this. Let's talk in the car, he said, pulling me into his vehicle. You've been drinking, you shouldn't drive. I reminded him as I saw him take the driver's seat. I didn't drink, Shinkan said. You didn't. But why was your face so red just now? I asked, puzzled. Shinkan chuckled, tilting his head to look at me, and murmured, maybe I blush when I see someone I like. Weixia, don't you? My cheeks grew warm. Alright, tell me why we're not compatible. Is it because you think I'm too irresponsible? Don't judge me by my appearance. I'm actually quite capable. I've learned everything I needed to. I just enjoy having a few drinks with my buddies in my free time, Shinkan said earnestly. I started, but he cut me off again. All I do is have a drink now and then. I don't have any bad habits. I'm even-tempered, and I've never been in a relationship before. You're the first person I've ever liked. Shinkan spoke faster and faster, as if afraid I'd turn him down again. Your family would never approve of us being together, I said with a sigh. My family is just an ordinary one. Upon hearing this, Shinkan immediately video called his parents and said to them, Dad, Mom, do you remember that CEO Su I mentioned last time? I'm going to marry her now. Do you have any objections? What do you mean, marry? I was stunned and quickly signaled him to hang up the phone. If Xiaoxia agrees, your father and I have no objections. Let's find a time for both families to meet and arrange all the wedding details. There's a lot to prepare in advance, Shinkan's parents said excitedly. Shinkan gave a satisfied nod and hung up the phone. Weixia, you don't have to answer me right now. Take your time to think it through, and I'll give you all the time you need, Shinkan said with a soft laugh. Watching me blush furiously, Shinkan said he would give me time. But he showed up every day with flowers for me and gifts for my parents. I never really got a chance to turn him down, but life remained relatively peaceful. But this peace was shattered a month later. Get lost, didn't you latch on to some sugar daddy? Why come crawling back to me? I heard Su Qingfeng's voice echoing from the hallway early in the morning. Immediately after, I heard Lin Qiushuang's voice too. Qingfeng, I was wrong. All I want now is to be with you. Please don't abandon me, you're all I have left, Lin Qiushuang sobbed. Get out. Su Qingfeng's voice held not a shred of compassion. I didn't listen further. Turning back to the bedroom, glancing at the calendar, I realized this must be when Lin Qiushuang learned of her terminal illness. Abandoned by her boyfriend, she had come back to seek out Su Qingfeng. That's when I heard the news of Lin Qiushuang's fatal fall. Just like in the previous life, but in this life, Su Qingfeng didn't go to save her. After sending Lin Qiushuang away, he quit his job here, packed his bags, and returned to his hometown. Bzzzt, my phone vibrated on the desk. Seeing the name Shinkan pop up on my phone screen, I picked up and answered the call, greeted by his cheerful voice on the other end. President Su, are you free to go see a movie with me today? I bought tickets for your favorite film. Hearing his voice instantly calmed my troubled heart. Where are you? I asked. Want to take a guess? Shinkan said with a laugh. I hurried to the window and glanced down, spotting that tall, handsome figure holding a large bouquet of roses. Come on up, I miss you, I said, gripping my phone tightly as I mustered my courage. Clang, a harsh sound suddenly blared from the phone. I looked down and saw Shinkan bending over to pick up his phone. The moment he grabbed it, he bolted toward the building. It wasn't long before the doorbell rang. He set the flowers on the shoe rack in the entryway, pulled me into his arms, and kissed me. His kiss was so deep I could barely catch my breath. Take it easy, I said, patting his arm. I love you too, he exclaimed, his eyes red with emotion. I'm pretty sure I just said I missed him. I reached out, wrapped my arms around his neck, stood on my toes to kiss his lips, and said with a smile, I love you too, so much. So very much. I've had feelings for you since we were abroad. And I've been dreaming of this day, he repeated, his voice trembling with emotion. Seeing him on the verge of tears from overwhelming emotion, I kissed his lips once more. I love Shinkan. This time, I mean it. Story 2. In a previous life, Jiang Hao rushed into a burning building to save his good brother, ignoring my desperate attempts to stop him. He ended up with 45% of his face burned and a permanent disability in his left hand. However, when I suggested breaking up to let him be with Li Meng, they took to the internet to write about how I was a heartless woman abandoning a hero who had saved others from a fire, which led to me being cyberbullied by millions. In the second year of suffering from depression, my family forced me into marriage with Jiang Hao by offering a dowry of 500,000 yuan. Li Meng did not attend our wedding but was waiting at our new home early to consummate the marriage on my behalf. I didn't disturb them. Instead, I silently turned on the gas in the kitchen, and when Jiang Hao rushed to turn it off, I pulled out a lighter. Let's meet in hell then. A fire treats everyone equally, regardless of who they are. I thought it would bring me relief, but after intense pain, I found myself back in the apartment I rented over 2 years ago. There, Jiang Hao and I were cuddling on the sofa, watching a movie. His left arm was around my neck, and he held a cigarette in his right hand. My mouth, seemingly out of control, pointed at the screen and endlessly talked about wanting a big bed like the one in the movie for our new home. Jiang Hao chuckled softly. Sure, as long as you like it, we'll get whatever you want. As he spoke, he leaned over to kiss me. I was terrified and wanted to resist, but then I heard a familiar ringtone. Jiang Hao had set a special ringtone for Li Meng, recorded by her. Aren't you going to answer the phone, my dear son? What are you up to that's so shady? Forgot your brother now that you have a wife? Huh, if you don't answer, you're buying the next round of skewers. It was a recording of Li Meng teasing as she ran, with Jiang Hao chasing after her, her exaggerated laughter and heavy breathing clear in the background. Jiang Hao picked up the phone as if it were a royal decree. What now? My lady, you sure have a knack for timing. Ah how? Save me, cough cough, my house is on fire, I might die. Ah how? Save me, cough cough, Li Meng was coughing violently as she hung up. Jiang Hao stood up from the sofa, his face serious and anxious, pacing back and forth. He called Li Meng several times, but she didn't answer. He grabbed his jacket. Su Qiao, something's happened to Li Meng, we need to go check on her. Why, can't we just not go? Jiang Hao paused, looking at me with disappointment. Su Qiao, are you even human? Li Meng said her house is on fire, it's a matter of life and death, and you don't care at all. I don't care, I'm not her mother, why should I worry? It's you who's all worked up over another woman, accusing your own girlfriend of not being human. What are you trying to say? Su Qiao, what are you doing now? You know how close I am with Li Meng, we've been good buddies for years, you should pick your moments. Jiang Hao, what if I forbid you from going? Jiang Hao scoffed and turned to leave. As he was changing his shoes at the entrance, I spoke again. Jiang Hao, I'm giving you one last chance. If you go to Li Meng today, we're breaking up. From now on, you can be with Li Meng, just don't come looking for me. Jiang Hao replied, break up, just because my brother needs me. Su Qiao, you've really shown me what it means when they say brothers are like limbs, women are like clothes. If I ever face trouble in the future, I don't know if you would come, but I know for sure that Li Meng would, so today, I must make sure she's safe. If you want to break up, then let's break up, but remember, the problem lies with you, not me. I have a clear conscience. After saying that, he turned and rushed out of the front door. Seeing both elevators occupied, he sprinted down the stairs instead. We live on the 7th floor, and running down indeed proved faster than walking. I don't know why. Even when I was prepared to go through hell, I find myself back in the realm of the living. Could it be that even fate thinks I lived through hell in my past life? I won't make the same mistakes again. Earlier, while Jiang Hao was changing his shoes, I took a photo of him tying his shoelaces. Now, I'm posting it directly to my social circle. You run to her in the shoes I bought you, making the past 3 years of my life seem like a joke. Every time it's the same, a single call from her. And whether we are kissing or hugging, you'd stop everything. Whenever she commands, all our plans get scrapped. 3 years in a relationship, loving you so humbly, even though I'm the official girlfriend, I always felt secondary, like a spare tire filling the void in your heart whenever she doesn't need you. We were even planning the decor for our new house, yet a call from her, and you left me behind again. 3 years by your side, and all I received was an if you want to break up. Then let's break up. I even started feeling cheap. Enough is enough. All the demeaning things I did for you, I'm taking it all back today. I paid the rent until next month and settled this quarter's utilities. You'll need to learn how to handle these going forward. Don't forget, I know you have no experience renting on your own. Since I met you, you've wanted to start your own business, never worked a day, and probably don't have much savings, so I chose to move out, leaving everything in the apartment for you. After all, this place reeks of you, and I can't stand it anymore. I just hope from now on we can go our separate ways and never disturb each other again. Jiang Hao, I genuinely wish you and Li Meng happiness and a long-lasting love. Love her well and stop using the guise of being good buddies to hurt innocent girls. The hardships, tears, and grievances I've endured over these 3 years, don't let another girl suffer them. Jiang Hao. Love Li Meng well, I wish you happiness. It takes about 15 minutes to drive from my place to Li Meng's. I must make every second count during this time. Posting about my breakup with Jiang Hao because of his best buddy Li Meng across all my social platforms, letting everyone know. Besides the last photo I took of him changing his shoes, there are also screenshots of our chats. Over 3 years, Jiang Hao and I argued countless times because of Li Meng. He stood me up more times than I can count for her sake. It seems whenever I had a date planned with Jiang Hao, Li Meng always had some crisis. I posted 8 screenshots on WeChat where Jiang Hao apologized for standing me up because of Li Meng. Then on Weibo, I posted 18. After that, I quickly packed up some essentials, dragged my luggage downstairs, and took another photo for my social circle. Goodbye. No matter how hard it is to let go, during the years I was cyberbullied, I never understood why it had to be me who suffered. Later, I thought maybe it's because Li Meng knows how to speak, to show vulnerability, to cry, to talk about emotions. She would die for Jiang Hao's happiness, so this time, let her be the one to personally bring him happiness. I took a taxi straight to the airport and bought a ticket for tonight's flight to Yunnan. Having just broken up, I was devastated. Traveling to clear my mind seemed reasonable, right? As soon as I landed and turned on my phone, it was bombarded with messages. I was flooded with over 99 notifications. Jiang Hao's idiot friends were shamelessly texting, Su Qiao, Jiang Hao needs you now. How could you leave him at a time like this? There's absolutely nothing romantic between Jiang Hao and Li Meng. All of us brothers can vouch for that. Su Qiao, Jiang Hao is in the emergency room fighting for his life. Come back and take care of him. Aren't you afraid of being criticized if you abandon him now? Afraid? Of course, I'm not afraid. Not only am I not afraid, I even feel like laughing. I ignored those messages and then saw many voice messages from my best friend. She started by cursing Jiang Hao. Damn, you finally broke up, sister. Jiang Hao is such trash. I told you he was no good. And that Li Meng, what a bitch, thinks she can rely solely on her male best friends. Disgusting. You were so naive to pay his rent and utilities for so many years. A dog would have been better to keep than him, and you left the house to him. Why should you? He doesn't even deserve a doghouse. Why did you go to Yunnan? To heal from the breakup. Send me your hotel info when you get off the plane. I'll catch the next flight to join you. Damn sister, karma really does exist in this world, truly. You breaking up with Jiang Hao was so timely. Just an hour later and you wouldn't have been able to escape. Jiang Hao got burned trying to save Li Meng and was rushed to the hospital. Feng Feng was extremely agitated until she got on her flight. I listened to her voice messages over and over, alone in my hotel room, tears streaming down my face, because in my past life, when I was alone, unsupported, and tortured by depression to the point of wishing I were dead, she was the only one there for me as always. She didn't know how to comfort me, and at that time I had completely closed myself off, not allowing anyone near, so she would often send me voice messages, share her experiences as if nothing had happened, treating me like a normal person. In my past life, when I died, she was probably still single, had bought a camper van, traveled with a big yellow dog, and became a travel blogger with over 1 million fans. She must have been busy, had many friends, taken many ads, and seen many sights, but she still messaged me, sent photos, let me see the roads she traveled and the views she saw. Qiao Qiao, you should have come with me, you would have loved it. That was what she told me the most. Her consistent attitude towards me, her understanding and support from start to finish, her years of friendship amidst the overwhelming unjust criticism and moral coercion, were as fine as spider silk, yet capable of bearing immense weight. It was the only ray of light that pierced through my dark world. I still fear crowds, even though those people aren't blaming or cursing me online anymore, not dredging up every traceable event from my childhood to scrutinize and judge. But those deep-seated fears and aversions aren't something that just disappear after rebirth. I checked Feng Feng's flight and estimated the time, then went down to the hotel lobby to wait for her. It was already past 3 in the morning. And there were only a few people at the hotel entrance. I stood alone, tucked in a corner under a column, and as soon as Feng Feng got out of the taxi, she glanced at the few people at the entrance and made a beeline towards me. For me, it had been over 2 years since I last saw her, but for her, it was as if we had just gone to a newly opened hot pot restaurant yesterday afternoon. Qiao Qiao, Feng Feng ran towards me. She hugged me tightly, not used to being in close contact with others. I tensed up instantly, but realizing it was Feng Feng who was holding me, someone who wouldn't hurt me, I gradually allowed myself to relax. Let's go up, we can talk more in the room. Throughout the journey, Feng Feng didn't stop talking. She alternated between being thankful for my timely escape and cursing Jiang Hao as a despicable man who got what he deserved. Do you know, there should have been no casualties in the fire. But he ignored advice and charged in to play the hero, only to end up with severe burns. He became the only person in need of urgent care. It's just ridiculous. How could he do that? Surely he didn't set his clothes on fire just to play the hero in front of Li Meng, and he had the nerve to call me brother. If that's not about love, then what is? I vaguely remembered something. He wasn't that crazy. The jacket he was wearing was a birthday gift from Li Meng last month. It was made of acrylic and nylon, materials that would melt and stick to the skin in high heat, and were also highly flammable. Feng Feng, damn, she seemed unsure how to judge the relationship between those two. After a pause, she shifted the conversation back to me. Thank God you left, otherwise, you wouldn't even realize what trouble you'd have been in. Are there temples in Yunnan? We must go offer incense at dawn to thank the deities for watching over you. If you had been weak one more time, swallowed your pride one more time, you would have ended up in the hospital taking care of him. He ruined himself for another woman and expected you to pick up the pieces. Damn, just thinking about it makes me sick. Feng Feng returned to the hotel room, took a bath amidst yawns, and went straight to bed. She slept soundly, enviably peaceful, but me, I hadn't slept well in a long time, and I felt wide awake now. I quietly took my laptop to the balcony. Before Li Meng could delete records and destroy evidence as she had in a previous life, I backed up all the evidence of the deep love that had once existed between her and Jiang Hao. While digging through Li Meng's secondary Weibo account, I discovered messages from her school days. It was clear she had enjoyed inserting herself between Jiang Hao and his girlfriend, emphasizing her own presence. Even after the girl couldn't tolerate it anymore and broke up with Jiang Hao, Li Meng would jump out, accusing and slandering the girl everywhere, smearing her reputation. Standing on a moral high ground, she rallied classmates to vilify the girl who broke up with Jiang Hao, portraying herself as righteous and just, and Jiang Hao as the innocent, pitiful one always being let down. The ex-girlfriends, in Li Meng's narrative, were monstrous and deserved disdain. All their friends, almost everyone they knew, were expected to join her and Jiang Hao in ostracizing these women. Or else they were no better. No wonder in a past life, she easily incited an online mob against me. Even though she was the one Jiang Hao had risked his life to save, she managed to clear her own name and morally blackmail many into believing I should stay with Jiang Hao unto death. It turns out she had mastered these tactics since her school days, perfectly honed. The more I uncovered, the more I realized that this secondary account was actually the truest reflection of Li Meng's past persona. She was brash and arrogant, like a little gangster, looking down on other girls. Her mantra was, "I'm basically one of the guys, not at all like those girls, I can't hang out with them, girls don't like me, I can only befriend boys." In college, when she wanted to reinvent her image, she switched accounts. This secondary account, used only to document her and Jiang Hao's supposed brotherly love and other close friendships, was meant to disgust her defeated foes. Here, the defeated foes specifically refer to Jiang Hao's ex-girlfriends, filled with boastful and provocative posts, almost as if saying directly, "I'm posting this for you to see, please come and envy me." Last month, during Jiang Hao's birthday, even though I was also there, all the photos that Li Meng posted either omitted me or showed just half of my face tucked away in a corner, like an unfamiliar passerby. She even posted a photo of herself trying on clothes with Jiang Hao, effectively painting a picture without me in it. It looked as though a wife was tidying up her husband's clothes as he prepared to leave the house. The two of them were close together, all smiles, gazing at each other affectionately. Haha. Fang was right, one might say. If this isn't love, then what is? This account really has it all. I even stumbled upon Li Meng's QQ number from her student days, something I didn't even know in my past life. Seeing the content she left behind and the praises sung by others in the comments, her QQ number seemed quite special. Not something just anyone could add. People in the comments were desperately pleading for a spot in her friends list, as if appearing on Li Meng's list was a great honor, a symbol of status. Following through on QQ, I found that entering her space required answering a question. The question was, who is lousy? Considering the nicknames her friends used in their interactions with her on Weibo, I typed in Meng Yi and got in. The last comment on the message board in her space was from 5 years ago. From those messages, it felt as though Li Meng had established some sort of cult, with her classmates worshipping her religiously, opening her space's albums and videos. I finally understood that the so-called worship stemmed from fear. They desperately flattered her, seeking her approval, terrified by her cruel methods towards those she disliked. She had shamelessly recorded and boasted about her bullying during her student days, getting lost in the calls of Meng Yi from her cronies. As a girl, she even secretly took photos of her classmates changing in the girls' dormitory and uploaded them directly to her space, with a group of male classmates. She objectified several developing girls, blatantly calling them derogatory names. In her comments section, someone even specifically requested photos of the class beauty, and Li Meng, without hesitation, posted photos of the class beauty changing. I clicked on that boy's profile, increasingly familiar. Wasn't that Jiang Hao from our school days? I felt so disgusted I wanted to vomit. I finally understood why there was always such a proud, close bond between Jiang Hao and Li Meng. Even boasting about it to their own girlfriends, their revolutionary comrades-like friendship, irreplaceable intimacy, was built layer by layer on the tears and humiliation of many girls. When Qin Fangfang woke up, I was still busy on the computer, not even noticing when the sun had risen. It was already broad daylight. "Qiao Qiao, what are you doing? You didn't stay up all night, did you? There's dew in your hair." Qin Fangfang handed me a cup of hot water and then helped me dry my hair with a towel. Seeing the content on my computer screen, she paused, sat next to me, and with a look of frustrated care said, "Why do you still bother with those two? Why do you still read their messages? You and Jiang Hao have already broken up. His death is none of your business, Su Qiao. Not all girls are as lucky as you, protected by divine powers, able to turn away before falling into a pit. If you dare go back to Jiang Hao, even God can't save you." "No, I don't plan to get back with Jiang Hao. I just feel that since he loves Li Ming so much, and would do anything for her, they really should be together. This spectacular love story should be known to everyone." "Su Qiao, are you out of your mind? Why do you care about them? Isn't that just asking for trouble? Are you a saint? How much bullying and suffering have you endured because of them? And you still have the mood to appreciate their love? What's wrong with your brain? Even Maria isn't as saintly as you." Qin Fangfang's words nearly awakened my conscience, which had been crushed by a brutal online bullying incident. "Of course, I am no saint. There are no saints in hell, only devils." After clicking send, I closed my laptop. "Let's go have breakfast. You said you need to go offer prayers early." "Qin Fangfang, I do need to light some incense. Praying for some divine help for your misguided mind. After the ceremony is over, we'll head back." "No, why go back? You didn't even bring any luggage, not even a change of clothes. You just showed up with that small bag. What will you do if we don't go back? Didn't you bring a big suitcase? I can just wear your clothes." "You're not disgusted by that, are you?" "Of course not. I don't mind at all. If you like them, you can have them." "Good. That's more like it." Qin Fangfang was insistent on taking me out to distract me, clearly not wanting me to return to Jiang Hao at this time. She knew that once I went back, many people would act pitiful in front of me on Jiang Hao's behalf, employing every tactic to force me to stay by his side and take care of him. They only cared that Jiang Hao needed someone to look after him now, that he was a hero, that he shouldn't be abandoned. They didn't care why I, Su Qiao, should be responsible for him, or why I should endure the humiliation of picking up after a man who risked his life for another woman. If Jiang Hao had truly loved me wholeheartedly over these 3 years, and not consistently prioritized Li Ming's needs over mine, if it had been me trapped in that fire, if he had risked his life to save me, no matter if it resulted in burns or disfigurement, I, Su Qiao, would willingly take care of him for life, without a single complaint. But as he said, he believes Li Ming would sacrifice everything for him but doesn't trust me. Therefore, if it was Li Ming in that fire, he would definitely go, even at the cost of his own life. If it was me in the fire, at most he'd stand in the crowd and tell me not to panic, and if he remembered to call the fire department, I'd consider him considerate. It's even possible that if Li Ming called him at that moment, he would leave, and later justify himself by saying, "The firefighters were already there." What could I do? "You're fine, aren't you? Li Ming needs me." It's ironic just to think about it. I can already imagine his exact expression and tone. I really don't understand. Why must he torment other girls? Why can't he just be with Li Ming directly? These two are insane. Unable to confront them in person, I searched online for several popular bloggers, seeing their posts about the unnamed hero in the fire, with hundreds of thousands of likes and tens of thousands of comments. I directly sent the evidence of Jiang Hao and Li Ming's love through a business partnership email. Humans are emotional beings, innately longing and yearning for beautiful love stories, especially the passionate, true love that endures life and death trials, unwavering and irreplaceable. Who wouldn't be moved by such a story? The package I sent them was full of screenshots, solid evidence, without a single embellished word. The content contained only conversations, photos, and videos between those two, without involving a third party. Anyone would think that those two had been in love for over a decade, from school uniforms to wedding gowns, a hero fearlessly braving the flames for his beloved. These two really stacked up the romantic buffs. If only Jiang Hao hadn't dated one girl after another during this time and always referred to Li Ming as a brother. Their story and feelings would be enough to make a romance movie. Those bloggers really knew how to capitalize on trending topics. After receiving the email, they immediately asked me to name my price. "You misunderstood, these aren't for sale, they are free." I know them and was moved by the fearless spirit of the firefighting hero risking his life for his lover. I hope the whole world sees their beautiful love that transcends life and death. Please promote them vigorously. When the wedding comes, the whole nation should join in the feast virtually. Jiang Hao and Li Ming's love story hit the trending searches the afternoon after the fire, not just locally, but on a national level, at that time, Jiang Hao probably hadn't even been moved out of the ICU. In the age of social media, where information spreads explosively fast, the popularity of a firefighting hero soared incredibly. At the time, everyone who captured photos and videos at the scene uploaded them to their accounts. Also, people around Jiang Hao and Li Meng, many of whom wanted to gain fame by being associated with heroes, were willing to accept interviews from various media and make statements on camera. I really didn't expect this level of attention. Qin Fengfeng returned to the hotel in the evening and saw the trending search, nearly smashing her phone in anger. Shameless, utterly disgraceful. These two wretches truly have no bottom line. Why hasn't lightning struck them dead? Are they childhood sweethearts destined by fate? Have they been together from school uniforms to wedding dresses? Then what are you? What about the other women before you? Are they just props in their romantic games? Insane. These two are really insane. There's no way to justify their actions. They have so many classmates and friends. Why has no one come forward to reveal the truth? Are they all blind? It kills me to see those two despicable figures being adored and praised by the whole nation on the trending searches. It's more painful than gouging out my eyes. Feng, calm down, have some tea to cool off. Getting angry over them is not worth harming your health. Su Qiao, have you lost your mind? Why aren't you angry? I've already broken up with Jiang Hao. Whatever he does has nothing to do with me anymore. Why should I be angry? But the way people online are shipping them. It's as if you've been the third party for the past 3 years. I just can't swallow that. Third party. The news about Jiang Hao and Li Meng is unusually hot. The whole nation is obsessed. If they knew that Li Meng is just the guy who broke up all of Jiang Hao's past relationships, I wonder if they would collectively spit blood. I asked a well-connected influencer, what's going on? How did this become a national trending topic? My friend is just an ordinary person and can't handle this. The quick reply came, this has nothing to do with me. This isn't something my dozen accounts could achieve. To tell you the truth, clearly some big capital is involved. Why? It's simple. It's about shifting the focus. Instead of the public demanding answers about fire safety, property management responsibilities, or why a gas company had a pipeline leak and explosion, it's better to feed them a crazy true love story. Tell your friend to see the bright side. It's not necessarily a bad thing. In the era of social media, so many people are desperate to become famous, they can easily gain millions of fans overnight, and just by occasionally promoting products, they can be set for life. Nobody's perfect. Tell them to delete any incriminating information fast and to apologize to any enemies. The power of netizens is immeasurable. In less than 3 days, both their family histories could be dug up. Okay, thanks for the heads up. I checked Li Meng's alternate account again, and just like in a past life, it had already been deactivated. Too late. Unfortunately, Qin Fengfeng tirelessly exposed their ugly true faces online, advocating for Jiang Hao's ex-girlfriends, mainly for me. But she didn't want to drag me into it, didn't want me to be scolded, so she only mentioned a friend of mine. As a result, the fanatic shippers of the couple cyber-attacked. Everyone knows, an unnamed friend is treated as the person themselves. Their relationship is so good, their daily life so sweet, it's impossible for anyone to come between them. You must be just a bitter person unable to get love. No one knows better than I do how little Qin Fengfeng thinks of Jiang Hao. To say she pined for Jiang Hao or was jealous of their love, to Qin Fengfeng, was the ultimate insult. Qin Fengfeng would never respect the men around me. When she saw news about girlfriends stealing boyfriends, she was almost nauseated. A real best friend would think that no man in the world is worthy of her best friend. Stealing men, nonsense. Such news is just created by malicious trash trying to stir up trouble between real friends. She clutched her phone, arguing with uninformed netizens. Too painful. Pea-sized pimples appeared on her chin, making her cry out in pain when touched. As I watched her, her eyebrows furrowed and her fighting spirit high, my eyes suddenly teared up, and I turned my face away. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. In a past life, when I was so cyberbullied that I hid in my room, afraid to meet anyone or to even check my phone, was she, like now, fighting single-handedly for me, alone against a multitude. Jojo, why are you crying? She put down her phone, came over, and hugged me, gently patting my back. If you're upset, just talk about it, let out your feelings, don't bottle them up. Why not forget about those who make you unhappy? You still have me. Qin Fengfeng thought too highly of me. She believed I was troubled by love, thinking I could truly bless Li Meng and Jiang Hao. She didn't know I was a soul resurrected from death, my heart so dark it lacked any light. Of course, I hoped they would be together, and I also hoped they would face endless calamity, better off dead, never to part through eternity. For a moment, I couldn't help but want to share my past life experiences with Qin Fangfang. But seeing her reddened eyes and the boil on her chin, I held back. What grievances have I suffered this time? It's merely escaping from a sea of misery, a stroke of luck. Yet she still felt indignant on my behalf. If she knew what I had endured in my past life, how I died, it would be too painful for her. Fangfang, stop arguing with others. Could you let me use your account? Sure. Take it, post whatever you want, argue with whoever you want, I'll bear the consequences. I'm not afraid of anything. I wouldn't curse anyone. I had already understood that one person cannot win against the whole internet, who only care about their imagined ideals, boldly claiming, I think he's pitiful, so you must take responsibility for him, rather than saying, I think he's a great hero. I'll take care of him for life. They are generous with others' feelings. Then bask in the satisfaction of being a good person. This time, I wanted to try that kind of happiness too, holding on to Qin Fangfang's account, still editing the content. A blogger who had contacted me before with several accounts reached out again. You must have some dirt on them, right? I know, you must have been very close friends, old friends, but no matter how good the relationship, don't let it get in the way of money, right? Can I buy it from you, you know? The curiosity and desire for knowledge of netizens are endless. All their dark histories will eventually be uncovered. You can't hide it for them. Look at the sickly sweet, flawless, mythically beautiful love on the trending searches now. Who but schoolchildren would not find it fake? It's not that I'm dark by nature, but years of professional sensitivity tell me there's a big story behind this. Could you leak some first-hand info? If your conscience bothers you, just point me in the right direction, and I'll search myself. I have the means to choose what gets published. If netizens uncover it themselves, they won't be considerate towards you. Heh. Seeing him previously advising me to tell those two to delete their dark histories and apologize to their enemies, I thought he was truly moved by their love, overwhelmed by kindness. Turns out, he was just trying to scam me, to see if he could trick me into revealing something. After waiting several hours to no avail, he couldn't wait any longer and revealed his true intentions. Using Qin Fangfang's account, I published the content I had edited, consisting of a gallery of over 20 images, all capturing Jiang Hao and Li Meng badmouthing Jiang Hao's ex-girlfriends. Li Meng really liked to boast by sharing screenshots of her and Jiang Hao mocking his girlfriends. Now she's reaping what she sowed. So, Li Meng was never the legitimate girlfriend. Jiang Hao had multiple relationships. The proof is irrefutable. Using Qin Fangfang's account was strategic, as her account had already drawn a day's worth of hatred, with many coming to her page looking for her information. Laying out this evidence was a direct blow to those fervent fans defending the beautiful love of Jiang Hao and Li Meng, whether they choose to turn a blind eye or to unfollow and retaliate. After I handed over the account ID of Qin Fangfang to the previous blogger, I told him, you can have the directions, but I don't need the money. How much content you can find is up to your own skills. I'm not sure if it's because Qin Fangfang is taking care of me now that she doesn't allow herself to be vulnerable, or if she's really just thick-skinned. After she threw her phone at me, she took mine to order takeout and even brought back a bouquet of flowers, since she came to my side. Besides the moment she held me while I cried and her eyes turned red. She has been either indignantly angry or laughing and joking around, but the pimples that burst out on her face and the blisters in her mouth can't lie. She's more upset than me. Fangfang, you should cancel this account in a few days. Sure, use it as you please. When the time comes, I'll just cancel it outright, and let those idiots who want to argue find no one to fight with. That'll show them. Originally, I really didn't want to get involved in this online frenzy, especially since the cyberbullying from my past life was too terrifying to experience a second time. But seeing the attacks on Qin Fangfang's account, how could I bear to let her suffer the harm that she shouldn't have to endure? If her real identity were to be exposed, the overwhelming slander would suffocate me just thinking about it. She plans to be a travel blogger and internet celebrity. She can't afford such a senseless dark history. That's not for her to bear. If netizens are so eager to get information about their ex-girlfriends, fine, I'll give it to them. I used Qin Fangfang's WeChat to screenshot my own social media, then, with my own Weibo ID, sent it directly to that blogger. Jiang Hao's girlfriend of 3 years, before the fire, broke up with him after a fight with Li Meng. I knew it. True to his nature as a traffic-hungry blogger, he was as excited as a vulture spotting carrion. The beautiful love story of a firefighting hero was pushed to the forefront to distract the public, with only a handful of sober netizens calling for rationality and accountability instead of indulging in celebrity pairings. But their voices, just like those of the victims hurt by Jiang Hao and Li Meng, were too small and got drowned out. However, the enthusiasm of netizens has a time limit. Continuously feeding them sugar will get tiresome. That's when you need to slap them in the face and bring this matter to another climax, with capital entering the fray and the heat not subsiding. As long as one follows the trend, there will be traffic. After milking a bit of the fairy tale romance, everyone began to peel back layers of the story. This process was exactly the same as in my previous life, having seen the Weibo and social circles of Li Meng and Jiang Hao from their student days. I'm not at all surprised by how netizens might greet them, but what I didn't expect was that Li Meng had never completely shut down her QQ space or deleted those photos and videos. Did she forget her password? Good and evil will eventually be repaid, and perhaps those classmates she bullied and tormented have been waiting for this day. However, when I was about to enter her QQ number in the chat box, I hesitated, because in her space, there were many photos of her female classmates changing clothes. Just blatantly displayed. If this were to be leaked, wouldn't it be a second harm to those innocent girls? In the end, I deleted her QQ number, but saved some of the photos and videos, along with screenshots of the message board, which I pixelated and sent to the blogger. After seeing those items, the blogger took a long time before asking me, "You're not really their friend, are you? You're their enemy." Yes, an enemy. A deep-seated one. I've waited a long time for this day. After all this, Qin Fengfeng and I both turned off our phones, decided to ignore the online messages, and went on a spontaneous trip. We traversed snowy mountains and marveled at seas of flowers, encountering many artistic youths with vibrant spiritual lives. Qin Fengfeng said, "Actually, the job I really want is to be a travel blogger, traveling the roads in an RV, free and unbound. I'd go wherever beauty leads, chasing the seasons and following beautiful legends. Just thinking about it excites me. You will make it come true." Then, "Jojo, would you come with me? We could team up and keep each other company." "Sure, if you still want me with you by then, I'll go." If you knew what I did, how I doomed those two people beyond redemption, if you aren't afraid of me, don't blame me, and don't find me vicious and terrifying, I'd go anywhere with you. Qin Fengfeng, what silly things you're saying. If you're willing to be with me, I couldn't ask for more. So it's settled then, I'll save up to buy a car. I spent a whole week with Qin Fengfeng in Yunnan before we finally started our journey home. Online, the story of the big fire and the hero Jiang Hao who rushed in to save others had turned into a drama series full of climaxes and twists. The so-called love that shares life and death turned into a trashy tale of a scumbag and a perennial mistress persecuting an innocent girl. The blogger was right, the power and curiosity of netizens are endless. They dug up more dirt than I, who have lived a lifetime, could have managed. They not only exposed Jiang Hao and Li Meng but also those who testified on the internet that Jiang Hao and Li Meng are just like siblings, without any romantic feelings. Whatever Li Meng posted was filtered and meant for viewing, but what those people posted on their accounts didn't need Li Meng's approval, especially those things from their school days. Anyone would feel a pang of sympathy for the classmates she bullied. There were even legal organizations willing to offer free legal aid to those classmates, encouraging them to sue Li Meng and Jiang Hao's bully gang, though it's likely they would only get an apology, with little chance of compensation. But it marked a significant event, a warning to other kids not to think that underage bullying has no consequences. A dark past can follow you for life. Now you may revel in arrogance, but sooner or later, you'll deeply regret it. After the incident, Li Meng tried numerous times to add me as a friend, but I never accepted. She bombarded me with messages from her and her brother's phones, hysterically screaming at me to come back and take care of Jiang Hao, claiming I was his real girlfriend. Hilarious. The whole internet knows I'm his ex, and you're his true love of many years, although some called me manipulative, suggesting my breakup post insinuated that Jiang Hao was jobless, mooching off me. So what? Yes, I was being manipulative on purpose. Every word I said was true. Jiang Hao's family is wealthy. He prides himself on being self-made and claims he won't take a penny from his family. I supported him for 3 years, and still, his friends thought I was the gold digger. Why shouldn't I let everyone know his true face? I went to see Jiang Hao in the hospital. Qin Fengfeng adamantly refused to go and rolled her eyes as she went home. At the hospital, Li Meng, who hesitated to enter the ward, lit up when she saw me as if seeing a savior. She rushed at me. "Su Qiao, you're finally back. Please check on Jiang Hao. He needs you." Before her hands could drag me into the ward, I fiercely slapped her face. With a loud smack, the onlookers around us fell silent, all eyes on us. In a past life, by now she would have already hidden away, using the shock and injuries from the fire as an excuse, leaving only me to tend to Jiang Hao. Everyone took it for granted, thinking I should be the one to do so. This time, it was her turn, and rightfully so, wasn't it, Li Meng? Are you even human? Jiang Hao was willing to die for you, and what are you doing now? Are you looking down on him? Who does he need more, me or you? Don't you know, his girlfriends come and go, but Li Meng remains constant. Was that just a joke? Before he went to see you, I tried to stop him, I even threatened to break up with him, but he chose you without hesitation. Fearless even of death for your sake. Why aren't you by his side in the hospital? Are you planning to run away? Li Meng, one must have a conscience. A good man like Jiang Hao, who is so devoted to you, you won't find another like him in your lifetime. I admit defeat. I bless you both. I'm begging you. Please don't abandon him at this time. He needs you, Li Meng. He became like this because of you. If you despise him and leave him, wouldn't that be worse than death for him? You can't do this. Li Meng, when a man is at his lowest, the last person he wants to see is his ex-girlfriend. I won't go into the hospital room. Please take good care of him. Li Meng, you two are childhood sweethearts, meant to be together. Your love will surely last forever. I sincerely wish you both well. As I turned to leave, Li Meng lunged at me desperately, grabbing my hair and tearing at my clothes, looking even more ferocious than when she bullied her classmates in those videos. However, before she could scratch my shoulder badly, she was pulled away. "What are you doing? This is a hospital. Stop it or I'll call the police." "No, it shouldn't be like this, Su Qiao. It should be you. You should be with him. You go. You are his girlfriend, not me." Only then did I notice something was different. The burn scars on Li Meng's left arm were gone. She had emerged from the fire unscathed, without a single injury. Her eyes showed more defiance than fear. Ignoring the current public opinion and the fact that Jiang Hao and I had broken up, stubbornly believing that I should be the one by his side, suddenly, it occurred to me, could it be that she too had been reborn? How wonderful. That's fantastic. Heaven has eyes. I knew we would meet again in hell. Watching Li Meng being held back, I raised my hand and made a motion as if lighting a lighter, which others might think was just me using sign language to thank her. But only Li Meng understood what I meant. She looked at me in horror, her mouth slightly open, her face pale, her body trembling. "Yes, that fire brought us all back. I was reborn too, so why should I be manipulated by you again? It's really nice to see you again, reborn Li Meng." I asked the doctor and found out that this time Jiang Hao's facial burns reached 70%, his left ear was completely destroyed by the fire, and his left eye was nearly blind, needing eye drops dozens of times a day. His back was severely burned too, requiring skin grafts. This looked much worse than before. How could this be? If Li Meng was also reborn, ensuring she was unharmed, how could she let Jiang Hao end up so severely burned? She must think that no matter what happens to Jiang Hao, I would eventually take over, and it wouldn't concern her. "So, you're completely disregarding Jiang Hao's welfare now. Great. Enjoy the surprise you've prepared for yourself." Online, a video and photos of Jiang Hao covered in flames and carrying Li Meng wrapped in a blanket as they rushed out of the building, are wildly circulating. Some bloggers have even created a comic version, both beautiful and tragic, and despite subsequent twists in the situation, they couldn't bear to delete them. But in my previous life, I never saw any of these, because in that life, Li Meng took preemptive action by telling the public that Jiang Hao was a helpful hero, that he had a lover, and asked everyone not to overly promote the photos and videos of Jiang saving her. To avoid upsetting his official girlfriend, she blurred the heroic deed Jiang Hao did for her, shifted all the focus onto me, and cleared herself of all responsibilities. Can you escape this time? I only visited the hospital once, and never went again, just like the previous life. Li Meng also went only once. She didn't slap me, but instead, she cried and begged me. She said, "I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have called Jiang Hao. I shouldn't have asked him to rescue me. It's all my fault he got hurt. If he hadn't been disfigured, you wouldn't have left him, right, Su Qiao? I'm begging you. Jiang Hao is already pitiful. He really loves you. Please don't leave him now. Blame me. Is it okay if I die?" as long as you can stay by Jiang Hao's side and make him happy, I'm willing to die." Her words seemed sincere, but she herself would rather perform a suicide in front of everyone than ever consider being with Jiang Hao. Her life-saving grace turned into an obligation for me. Fearing that Jiang Hao would cling to her and demand her responsibility, she published a lengthy essay online, condemning me as a heartless woman for abandoning a fire rescue hero. Although the fire was extinguished by firefighters, Jiang Hao had rushed in to carry her out before they arrived. While I was overwhelmed by an online backlash, Li Meng took the chance to distance herself from Jiang Hao. She still managed to portray herself as noble and great. "Ah Hao, I know you truly love Su Qiao. She has misunderstood us now, and I can't appear between you two anymore. I can't affect your relationship, but you should know, we are lifelong good friends. For your happiness, I'm willing to step back. She is being misunderstood and insulted online. She really needs you. Please stay with her." I didn't expect netizens to get so agitated. "Now only you can comfort her." After that, Li Meng disappeared for 2 years without showing her face to me until she appeared in the new house I shared with Jiang Hao. Li Meng really got sued, along with a few of her close friends. Jiang Hao, because of the fire incident, was spared by the common saying to err is human, to forget divine, and was removed from the list of defendants. The verdict was as the lawyer predicted, a public apology with no substantial punishment, considering we were all minors at the time. But after such a scandal, the past of these school bullies became known to everyone in their current social and work circles, causing everyone to distance themselves, fearing association, and they were isolated at work until they had to resign voluntarily. Evil deeds bear evil consequences. After the case, the Jiang family approached the Li family for a marriage proposal, the dowry still being 500,000 yuan. Li Meng cried and screamed in disagreement, saying behind closed doors that Jiang Hao looked like a ghost, giving her nightmares. What are nightmares compared to the harsh reality? Li Meng's refusal to marry enraged the Jiang family. Their only son had become disfigured because of her. She really disliked it. Although the Jiang family wasn't at the pinnacle of wealth, they could easily muster tens of millions in disposable funds, unlike Li Meng's family, who were just ordinary salaried workers and couldn't withstand their targeting. Within 2 months, Li Meng was practically packed up by her family and delivered to Jiang Hao. Their wedding came much quicker than my own in a previous life. Even before the results of the fire investigation were out, the buzz hadn't fully died down yet, and there were still many eyes on them. This time, it seemed the whole country was invited to the feast. Virtually speaking, to avoid marrying Jiang Hao, Li Meng actually approached a good friend from before, offered herself willingly, and even sent photos and videos of it to Jiang Hao. "Ah Hao, I've always treated you like a brother. You know that. I don't have romantic feelings for you. I've always loved Lei Zi. Please, call off the wedding and let us be together. I belong to him now. We can still be good brothers. And I'll take care of you for the rest of my life. I can do anything for you, just not marry you." "Really, Jiang Hao, really? If I hadn't been reborn, I might have actually believed you." Li Meng threw her phone away, screaming in terror. Jiang Hao's parents, upon seeing the photos and videos Li Meng sent their son, were so enraged they ended up in the hospital. Yet, Jiang Hao did not call off the wedding. After the wedding, amidst the ongoing heat of the fire investigation and court compensation verdict, Jiang Hao himself leaked the video Li Meng had sent him. While Li Meng was cornered, crying and holding her head under cyber attack, he stepped forward with a statement. "I believe what she said. It was all a misunderstanding. I trust our feelings for each other. They can't be destroyed by a mere fire. Meng is a good person. Please leave her alone. Don't disturb our lives anymore." Jiang Hao successfully cleansed his image from those ugly faces in the school violence videos, and the trashy image of betraying countless ex-girlfriends for Li Meng. He became a romantic fool, an object of pity and sympathy. As much as he was pitied, Li Meng was vilified. Jiang Hao contacted me many times, wanting to meet, but I really wasn't interested. Qin Fangfang's grandmother passed away, and I accompanied her back to her hometown for the funeral. As soon as the funeral ended, her 3 uncles started a heated fight over the inheritance, even flipping tables and coming to blows. Eventually, they wanted to slaughter the big yellow dog the grandmother had raised and divide its meat. It was the first time I saw Qin Fangfang cry so heartbrokenly. Then, while they weren't looking, we took the trembling dog and drove away in the night. Back home, Qin Fangfang, holding the dog, asked me, "Qiao Qiao, what do you think is the meaning of life, my grandmother?" After she got married, the furthest she ever went was to the market in town. She never once returned to her parental home. Did you know? She never even went to a movie theater her whole life because there wasn't one in town. I once wanted to bring grandmother to live with me, to show her the big city, but my uncles refused, blaming me for being thoughtless. I don't understand. Grandma was so good to me when I was a child. Why can't I take care of her and show my filial piety? Later, I realized they preferred grandmother to suffer with them rather than enjoy comfort at someone else's house because of the inheritance. They feared grandmother would be swayed by my kindness and secretly give me things. They seem so nice usually, but why are their thoughts so filthy? Why is that? Ciao ciao, let's go traveling, shall we? I no longer want to stay in one place, and I'll soon have saved enough money to buy a car. Fong Fong, can I tell you a story? That night, the two of us and a dog sat on the edge of the bed, talking endlessly. The dog and I didn't cry, but Chin Fong Fong cried throughout. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Chiao Chiao, how could you be so foolish? How could you dare? The fire must have been so painful. Chiao Chiao. Chin Fong Fong hugged me, crying heart-wrenchingly. She looked at me, but she was crying for the departed Su Chiao she never knew. Her face was a mask of anguish and helplessness. If it weren't for the good soundproofing of the apartment, I would have been afraid that her neighbors might call the police in the middle of the night. I contributed half of the money, and together with Chin Fong Fong, we bought an RV. We deactivated our old social media accounts, changed our phone numbers, and set up new social media profiles. Determined to become two qualified travel bloggers, before we set off, I went to meet Jiang Hao. He wore a cap and a hood, his face hidden behind sunglasses. He didn't look as frightening as one might expect, and I had long grown accustomed to the scars on his face. Why have you always wanted to see me, Su Chiao? I'm sorry, it was my fault in the past. Is that why you're here? Just to apologize. I want to tell you, I regret it. I know you tried to stop me back then, even threatening to break up with me to prevent me from getting hurt, but now you see, it was all my own doing. Li Meng was reborn before me. When I entered, she was already wetting the blanket. In her previous life, she injured her hand because the blanket wasn't wet enough. This time, she would rather delay and let the fire grow bigger, ensuring I got more severely injured while she made sure to wet the entire blanket and even drenched herself in the bathroom. Not caring whether I lived or died, I watched him calmly. As he described the scene, his body couldn't stop trembling, filled with regret and hatred so intense it seemed almost tangible enough to flip the roof. But inside, I felt nothing. So, you were reborn too. That's really good news. But I must clarify one thing. I never intended to save you, the way I decisively broke up with you, leaving precise evidence and timing of our breakup, moving out overnight and traveling out of province. It was all to save myself, to sever ties with you, so, please don't flatter yourself. I always felt that a world where only the victims are reborn is cruel to the reborn. Why should only the victims experience it twice? If the past is unknown, how can one truly aim for a deep revenge? The perpetrators know nothing, feel victimized by revenge, thinking themselves innocent. It would be fairer if everyone were reborn. That would be true retribution. Then, you would know what you truly deserve. Finally, heaven heard my prayers and favored me. Only when I knew that Jiang Hao was also reborn in that emergency room did I truly let go of everything. The phrase "a weight lifted off my shoulders" isn't just an adjective. I truly felt lighter. My smiles no longer forced. Chin Fong Fong and I, along with our big yellow dog, embarked on our road trip. Our country is magnificent, its landscapes vast. This life, this journey, surely will not be in vain. Story 2, returning to my high school days. I accidentally bumped into the man who would become my future husband. At that time, he was still a carefree young master and teased me, saying, "I like beautiful women with big chests, slim waists, and long legs. You, looking like a sprout, don't stand a chance." I nodded in understanding and replied, "You're blocking my way to the top student." Later, rumors spread throughout the school that I was dating this top student. He was upset and cornered me, threatening, "Chin Wan, if you dare to date early, I'll break your legs." It wasn't until university that the top student confessed his feelings for me. The man who once favored curvaceous beauties ended up sweeping me off my feet, pinning me beneath him, seductively coaxing, "Sweetheart, would you like to try what it's like to be with your husband at 20? I stumbled into a warm chest, reflexively grabbing the corner of his shirt. A flood of memories rushed through my mind, before I could steady myself. A teasing voice came from above, "Chin Wan, have you also learned to throw yourself into my arms?" Looking up, I was met with an extremely handsome face. His slightly squinted, peach blossom eyes were brimming with amusement, casting affectionate looks all around. I had seen his face thousands of times, yet my heart still skipped a beat from his stunning appearance. His name was Lu Yi, my husband, or rather, my husband from a past life. Aren't you letting go? Do you like me that much? Unfortunately, he paused mid-sentence, giving me a mocking glance. I like beautiful women with big chests, slim waists, and long legs. You, looking like a sprout, stand no chance. Indeed, I was never his type, so much so that in our previous life, even after over a year of marriage, he never touched me. I let go of his shirt, frowning as I took a few steps back. You're in my way, I'm looking for the top student. As I tried to walk past him, he grabbed my backpack. School's over. Why are you looking for the top student instead of going home with me? I yanked my backpack back, giving him a cold glance. Mind your own business, Qin Wan. Have you become so capable? If it weren't for the old man's orders, this young master wouldn't bother with you. Ignoring my struggles, he forcefully wrapped an arm around me and carried me off to his car. I was so angry that my face turned red, pushing him away. Stay away from me. He slightly raised the corner of his eye, deliberately leaning in closer. Did you take the wrong medicine today? You're like a little pufferfish, so temperamental. Seeing that I ignored him, he chuckled lightly and hooked my chin with his finger. Are you upset now? Don't touch me. I swatted his hand away and turned my face toward the car window. I recalled the scenes from my past life where he flaunted his affairs. A voluptuously figured woman looked at me with mocking eyes. Can your plain figure ever arouse Lu Xiao's desires, then? She casually pulled down her neckline, revealing ambiguous love bites. Have you ever seen his wild side in bed? In that moment, I felt nauseous. My marriage to Lu Yi originated from a drunken joke about a match between our families. We were young then, and both sets of parents were still alive. After my parents died unexpectedly, the Lu family took me in. Unexpectedly, Lu's father, a man of his word, pressured Lu Yi to marry me after we graduated from university, perhaps due to the pressure. Lu Yi didn't refuse, and I wasn't against the marriage either. After all, I was vain, and Lu Yi was undeniably handsome. Even without love, just having him as eye candy was a pleasure. I thought I could overlook his philandering. But reality proved otherwise, and deep down, I realized I genuinely liked him. I actually liked a scoundrel. This realization was something I couldn't accept, so I immediately asked Lu Yi for a divorce and moved out of the Lu household without delay. As the car drove on, I was aimlessly unsure of where to go, until a truck coming from the opposite direction hit me, and I woke up back in my high school days. The first thing I faced was Lu Yi mocking me about my bean sprout-like stature. Hitting my sore spot once again, perhaps because I was a premature baby and often sickly from a young age, my development lagged behind my peers. I always appeared much younger than my age, even though I was taken back to the Lu family 3 years ago and received meticulous care. My physical development still hadn't caught up with others my age. Alright, it's all my fault. Have some milk to cool off, Lu Yi said, handing me a bottle of milk with the tone of coddling a child. I was so angry I wanted to smash the milk bottle on his head. Whether it's the Lu Yi now or 6 years later, he is equally annoying. He kept pestering me with chatter, playing with a lock of my hair as he spoke. When I finally couldn't control myself and kicked him towards the other side of the car window, he suddenly told the driver to stop by the roadside. As the car window rolled down, I heard Lu Yi whistle towards someone on the sidewalk. Hey goddess, need a ride? Looking sideways, I saw Jiang Wan, dressed in a black leather skirt and carrying a guitar case, exuding a distinct personality. She was the campus goddess of University A, and Lu Yi often visited University A to pursue her. Despite his poor academic performance, he boldly claimed he would get into University A for her. Jiang Wan didn't notice my presence in the back seat and was about to open the car door. Lu Yi pointed to the front passenger seat. Goddess, please sit in the front. My little friend here is throwing a tantrum and won't let me get close. Jiang Wan turned her head towards me and nodded with a smile. Once she got into the car, Lu Ye's attention was completely drawn to her. All I heard were his compliments about Jiang Wan. He commented on how pretty her skirt was and how nice the little braid by her ear looked. Indeed, Jiang Wan was beautiful, fitting all of Lu Ye's aesthetic preferences. Unfortunately, in a previous life, Lu Yi couldn't decide on his own marriage, and his dream of marrying the goddess was thoroughly shattered. Jiang Wan had joined an off-campus band, where she was the guitarist. They were scheduled to perform at a pub tonight, She invited Lu Yi and me to watch their performance. I politely declined, using the excuse that I needed to go home to study, but Lu Yi disagreed and irrationally dragged me into the pub. All you know is studying. You're becoming a nerd, he said, facing Lu Yi, who was already 1.8 meters tall. I felt as powerless as a little chick. Other than calling him a dictator, I had no way to fight back. After we sat down, Jiang Ruan left for backstage preparations. After a few soft love songs, it was Jiang Ruan's band's turn. Different from the earlier sentimental tunes, their sound instantly electrified the venue. Even I couldn't help but be captivated. Jiang Ruan on stage, playing the guitar, was immensely charismatic. When a girl acts cool, boys really can't compete with her. I had to admit, Lu Yi had really good taste. Jiang Ruan was someone even I admired. A hand waved in front of my face. Are you staring because she's that good looking? Yes, very cool. I brushed Lu Yi's hand away and applauded enthusiastically for the performance. Am I cool too? I rolled my eyes at him as a response to his vanity. Lu Yi clicked his tongue and shook his head. You've seen nothing yet. Let me show you what cool really is. As the current performance ended, he stood up and walked towards the stage, whispered something to the drummer, and then took his place. Under the spotlight, he winked at me as if to say, watch this. Radiating a mix of roguish charm and wildness, he effortlessly whipped the entire audience into a frenzy with his drumming. People in the crowd began to scream and take photos. That guy on the drums is way too handsome. Even Jiang Ruan couldn't help but look on with admiration. As we were leaving, Lu Yi walked backwards in front of me, a smug expression on his face. How about that? I'm way cooler than those professional musicians, right? With a face like mine, I'd be a top-tier celebrity in the entertainment industry. Lu Yi. Jiang Ruan followed us out, her voice still slightly breathless. Lu Yi stopped and turned around, his eyes twinkling with amusement. What's up? Jiang Ruan approached him, seemed about to say something, but hesitated upon seeing me. You guys talk. I'll head to the car first. I considerately gave them some space. From the car, I watched the two of them under the dim street lights, standing face to face. Jiang Ruan tucked her slightly messy hair behind her ear, her cheeks tinged with shyness. She clenched her fist, gathering courage, and the next second, she tiptoed and kissed Lu Yi on the cheek. My eyes widened slightly, my heart squeezed by an invisible hand. Lu Yi suddenly looked my way, even though I knew he couldn't see me. I guiltily averted my gaze like a thief. When I got back into the car, Lu Yi casually wiped his face. You didn't see anything just now, did you? Nothing. He seemed relieved and ruffled my hair. Why do you still seem unhappy? Are you still mad about my joke earlier, calling you a sprout? I pulled his hand away, not wanting to deal with him. After a quick dinner at home, I retreated to my room. I pulled out my exercise book, but the unfamiliar problems made my head hurt, and I eventually closed the book and went to bed. My mind was a haze, filled with jumbled memories that seemed about to burst my brain. Gradually, my entire body felt like it was in a furnace, my bones burning painfully. In my blurred consciousness, I seemed to see Lu Yi's face, twisted and frightening. He reached out to hold me, and I stared at his cheek, starting to cry in irritation. I pushed his face away in disgust, but he moved closer again, so I scratched at his face wildly. He restrained my hands and held me close, his voice by my ear both anxious and restrained. Sweetie, please be good. Okay, we'll go to the hospital and you'll feel better. When I woke up, I was lying in Lu Yi's arms, feeling sore and weak. He encircled me from behind, holding my hand as he clipped my nails. I didn't move, just quietly watched his actions. When he finished with the last nail, I moved my head and looked up at him. His handsome face now bore several scratch marks. Lu Yi, can you be my brother? He placed a hand on my forehead. Silly, haven't I always been your brother? A sense of security instantly filled the emptiness in my heart, like grabbing a lifeline. Perhaps in a past life, I was mistaken. Being family suits us better than lovers. After this realization, even looking at Lu Yi was more pleasing. I sheepishly pointed to the scratches on his face. Did I do that? He helped me sit up against the bed headboard and opened a thermos on the table. He scooped up a spoonful of porridge and brought it to my lips. Who else would dare touch my face but you? I gave a sheepish smile and apologized. I reached for the spoon to feed myself, but he moved it away. Don't move around, you are my ancestor now. If the old man knew I hadn't taken good care of you, he'd almost come through the phone to smack me. I have no idea how he manages to be so well informed even from abroad. There must be a traitor in the family, daring to tattle on me. Listening to his complaints, I suddenly felt the urge to laugh. it's a blessing to have a second chance at life. This time, I will definitely find my own happiness. After recovering from my illness, I threw myself into my studies. In addition, I began to drink milk and eat nutritious meals actively each day. While persisting with exercise, I believed that with my efforts, I would develop better than in my previous life. When Louis saw that I had signed up for yoga at the gym, he also enrolled in basketball. Usually, at this time after school, he would have already been gaming on his computer. After some thought, I advised him, "You don't have to exercise just to accompany me, I can manage on my own." He gave me a sidelong glance and said, "Who said I'm doing this for you? I just felt like playing basketball." I shrugged and stopped bothering with him. An hour later, after yoga class ended, I was leaning against the wall as I walked out of the studio. Just as I stepped out, a hand grabbed my arm and Luya's voice came from above. "What's wrong with your legs?" Holding back tears, I replied, "I've got a cramp." He sighed, crouched in front of me, and said, "Chinwan, what would you do without me? Come on, I'll carry you back." "No need, I'll just walk slowly." Ignoring my response, Luyi reached back, scooped me up, and firmly decided for both of us, "Hold tight, or don't blame me if you fall." Luyi, put me down. He pretended to throw me, which scared me into clinging tightly around his neck. Delighted with his successful prank, he laughed heartily. "Now you're behaving." Annoyed, I pinched his cheek hard. He then suddenly sped up. "Luyi, slow down, I'm scared, say something nice." Luyi is the kindest person in the world. Luyi is not nice at all, he's the most unreasonable person there is. This was my first thought when he accused me of puppy love. A week ago, after a dismal score on a pop quiz, I approached Yan Zhao from the next class, hoping to discuss my academic issues with him. After all, he was known for his excellent grades and was both patient and good-tempered. His way of explaining things was easier to understand than the teacher's, and I had consulted him before, so I sought him out again without hesitation. After flipping through my test, Yan Zhao gave me a strange look. "Did you intentionally mess up? You weren't at this level before." I gave an awkward smile. I hadn't touched high school material in years. How could I not be rusty? "What if I told you I went to sleep and forgot everything I knew? Would you believe that?" He neither agreed nor disagreed, simply bowing his head and starting to explain the questions. This went on for a week. As a thank you, I occasionally brought him some treats. Over time, rumors started circulating. People said I was feigning ignorance, using tutoring as a pretext to chase after Yan Zhao. Some even took photos out of context and posted them on the campus forum. A moment where I was quietly asking him a question by his ear was captured as if I was kissing him. A photo of me leaning on his chair was portrayed as if I was resting on his shoulder. When I was unaware of these images on the forum, Luyi suddenly appeared. With a face full of anger, he yanked me up from my seat next to Yan Zhao. "Luyi, what are you doing?" My hand hurt from his grip. His strength was immense, and I couldn't break free. After being dragged out of the classroom, Luyi pulled me into an empty classroom and trapped me between his arms. His voice fierce. "Chinwan." My heart softened a bit. Despite my frustration, "How long are you going to keep up this act?" He looked genuinely upset. "I'm not acting, you were being overbearing. And I just want you to understand boundaries," I replied, holding the warm cup in my hands. "Okay, I get it, I'm sorry for overreacting. Let's not end the day like this, alright." He leaned against the door frame, looking more vulnerable than usual. I took a sip of the milk, feeling the warmth spread through me. "Fine, but you need to learn to trust me more, and stop jumping to conclusions." He nodded slowly. "I'll try, I promise." "Can we go back to normal now?" I sighed. Not fully convinced but exhausted from all the day's drama. "We'll see. Good night, Luyi." He smiled, a hint of relief in his expression. "Good night, Chinwan." He pulled back, finally removing his foot from the door as he closed it gently behind him. As I sipped the milk, I realized that despite our quarrels, there was a part of me that still appreciated his concern, however misdirected it might have been. Tomorrow was another day, and hopefully, it would be less eventful. I froze for a moment. When my parents were still alive, that was how they called me. After their passing, I withdrew into myself for a long time. Having just been taken in by the Liu family, I was very cautious and hardly dared to speak. At night, I would hide under the covers and cry. Closing my eyes, I would see the scene of them leaving me. Crying would always lead to fevers and sickness. Luyi somehow learned this nickname, and he would always use it when I was ill. He'd coax me to take my medicine and get my injections, and it was only during those times that he acted like a truly caring big brother. Remembering how he took care of me in the past, I silently took the cup of milk from him. This won't happen again. His eyes lit up, and he immediately swore, I promise I'll always trust you unconditionally from now on. Knowing he had upset me, Lu became especially attentive. The next day, the young master surprisingly didn't stay in bed. Instead, he got up early to wake me and even went as far as to squeeze the toothpaste for me. After I finished washing up, he mysteriously guided me to sit in front of the vanity mirror. Today I'm going to do your hair. I was almost scared to death when I heard this. What, did you take the wrong medicine? He clicked his tongue. You don't trust me. I've actually spent a long time learning, a grown man learning to do hair. Thinking about his flirtatious and frivolous nature, I wasn't surprised. It was probably another skill he picked up to make girls happy. I thought he meant a simple ponytail when he mentioned doing my hair, but then he took out 2 braided bands adorned with small pearls and expertly started braiding the hair near my ears. How does it look? Pretty, right? I was stunned and gave a thumbs up to his reflection in the mirror. True to his nature, he really put in the effort to charm girls. No wonder, despite his playboy traits, so many girls still liked him. If he were ever truly dedicated, he could be called a living legend. 12. On the weekend, Yan Zhao came to the Lu residence to see me. Upon seeing him, Lu Ye's face darkened by 3 shades. As a top student, surely you understand basic pleasantries, right? Yan Zhao pushed up his glasses and calmly stated, Lu, perhaps you're not aware, but I've been hired by your mother as Qinwan's tutor until the college entrance exams are over. Lu Yi clearly didn't believe him, but before he could react, Mrs. Lu came downstairs. Seeing Yan Zhao, she warmly invited him to sit down. Mom, are we going bankrupt? Why hire such a mediocre tutor for Qinwan? Mrs. Lu glanced at him disdainfully. Yan is not like you, who only knows how to indulge in pleasures. He has already self-studied all the high school curriculum. I knew this very well, having seen it in my past life. While all the other students were buried in their books, Yan Zhao was already leisurely studying university-level materials. I asked him why he didn't just skip grades and take the college exams. He said he wanted to experience high school life. I don't like this tutor. Get another one, Lu Yi grumbled. Mrs. Lu elegantly sipped her coffee. It's not for you to decide. As long as Nuan likes him, if you don't want to study, go out and play with your friends. Don't stay home and disturb Nuan's studies. Mom, am I even your real son? I've been wondering the same thing. In what ways do you resemble your father and me? Seeing Lu Yi defeated, I secretly chuckled. After greeting Mrs. Lu, I invited Yan Zhao upstairs to the study. Not long after we closed the door, Lu Yi followed, seemingly having a sudden change of heart. Declaring that he wanted to study with us, Yan Zhao and I exchanged glances, not taking his sudden interest too seriously. 13. After forcefully inserting himself between me and Yan Zhao, he devised a new study method. If I had a question, Yan Zhao would explain it to him first, and only after he understood it would he explain it to me. He claimed, this way, the knowledge will stick better. I leaned heavily on the desk and sighed. Lu Yi, wait until you understand before explaining it to me. The dish has gotten cold. Who are you looking down on? I'm not stupid, I just don't want to study. Indeed, Lu Yi wasn't bluffing. He was the kind of person who got it right away. Watching Lu Yi explain the problem to me, I felt like the world was turning upside down. He tapped my head with his pen. Are you daydreaming while I'm explaining this to you? It was quite a moment. A studious person like me being lectured by someone who usually slacked off. I looked at Yan Zhao. Unable to suppress a bittersweet smile, he smiled knowingly. What are you looking at? Focus on the problem. Lu Yi leaned over the table, completely blocking my view. A month passed, and Lu Yi was still around, his friends no longer dragging him out to hang out. He insisted on staying home to tutor me. His friends were almost shocked out of their wits. Time flew by, and before we knew it, it was time for the college entrance exams. Lu Ye's improvement was nothing short of meteoric. It was hard to imagine that in his previous life he needed his family to donate a building to get into a university through a sports scholarship. Soon after the exams, it was my 18th birthday. The Lu family threw me a simple and warm birthday party. They invited classmates who were close to me. Everything was almost the same as in my previous life, except this time Yan Zhao was also there. After the dinner party, I walked them to the door. Yan Zhao, lingering at the back, presented a small gift box to me. A birthday gift. I hope you like it. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought those books you gave me were the gift. Isn't it more surprising to lower your expectations before giving the real gift? I couldn't help but laugh. Indeed, his presence was the biggest surprise of all. he was the unexpected that I had anticipated. Open it and see. If you don't like it, I'll get you another. I wondered what a top student would gift, my curiosity piqued. When I opened the gift box, I almost burst into laughter. Do you think it's tacky? I shook my head with a smile. No, I love it. After all, who wouldn't like gold? Yan Zhao laughed too. There are two ways gold can form. One is from the death of massive stars in the universe, and the other is from the collision of neutron stars. Two entwined neutron stars in a timeless stare explode in an instant at the end of their gaze, causing ripples through the universe and scattering gold across the vast cosmos. Such explosions of neutron stars occur once every 100,000 years, making gold a romantic embodiment of the galaxy. I held the gold rabbit necklace in my palm. Is this a science student's idea of romance? No. If it were anyone else, I'd just say gold retains its value. The atmosphere turned subtly profound. Nuanyuan. Let's apply to be university together, holding the necklace. I thought of Lu Yi and shook my head to clear him from my thoughts. After a moment, I replied, okay. I returned to my room and immediately ran into Lu Yi. He makes you happy with a gift, but you won't even glance at mine. Who matters more to you? I felt guilty remembering how he wanted to show me my gift early this morning, which I had declined knowing what it was, a room full of princess dresses. I remember in my previous life when he took me to see it, I was stunned. Lu Yi. Are you planning to start a wholesale clothing business? He looked disappointed. You don't like it? I'm 18, not 8, I'm past the age of dreaming, so this lifetime. When he suggested again that I look at the gift, I declined, proposing some other day instead. Nuanyuan, do you like him? His sudden question snapped me back to the present. No, Lu Yi replied, his eyes harboring a depth that I couldn't fathom. If you say it's nothing, then I believe you. He handed me a pitch-black box. Happy birthday, 18-year-old Qin Wan. As I watched his retreating figure, I opened the box. Inside was a key and an address. Driven by curiosity, I suddenly felt compelled to check it out. Half an hour later, I arrived at the destination. As I opened the door of the apartment, I heard my mother's voice. My dear child is home. Tears instantly fell as I entered the room. Everything was as familiar as the home I remembered. Two adorably goofy humanoid robots approached me. My father's familiar voice rang out. All grown up at 18, and still crying. My dear. I burst into laughter amidst my tears and followed them to the dining room. The room was filled with balloons, flowers, and photos of me from childhood to the present. On the table was an unlit birthday cake. A projection appeared on the wall, displaying videos of my childhood birthdays up until I was 8. In the video, my parents sang happy birthday, and I made a wish with my eyes closed. My dad playfully smeared cake on my nose, and I screamed, opening my eyes to smear some back at him, laughing joyously. What did you wish for? My mom asked. Naively, I said, I want to be daddy and mommy's little princess forever, with endless princess dresses to wear. My heart skipped a beat as those blurry memories became clear. I had forgotten I ever made such a wish. Reflecting on the past, it seemed like every birthday wish had come true, except for this year's, which couldn't be fully realized. Thinking back to when I was 18 in my past life, Lu Yi had filled a room with princess dresses for me, bringing a sudden sadness. So that was why he had given me an exaggerated number of princess dresses. Only in this life did I understand his intention. And it made my heart feel uncomfortably full. The video continued, depicting the birthdays they hadn't spent with me, using animated characters to fill in. When it reached my 18th birthday, the animated character of my dad asked me to look for a gift in the room. I followed a path laid with petals to the balcony and pushed open the door leading to the next room. A room full of princess dresses met my eyes. For a moment, it felt like I had returned to my past life, but in that past life, Lu Yi hadn't asked me to open the door to the next room. I had misunderstood his intentions. Even feeling that he was indifferent, overwhelmed with guilt, I wanted to see Lu Yi immediately, to tell him how much I cherished his gift. Yet when I returned home, I found Lu Yi wasn't there. I called him, and Jiang Ruan answered. Lu Yi is drunk, come pick him up. I hurried to the bar where Jiang Ruan was, and found Lu Yi completely inebriated. I approached him and tugged at him a few times. Lu Yi, let's go home. He looked at me with bleary eyes and suddenly wrapped his arms around my waist. The gesture was far too intimate. My eyelids twitched, and I looked at Jiang Ruan, quickly pushing away Lu Yi's hands from my waist to avoid any misunderstanding. Can't I even hug you? Lu Yi looked at me with reddened eyes. What about when you were sick and clung to me? He added, overwhelmed. I raised my hand to cover his mouth, fearing he would say something more suggestive. I tried to clarify to Jiang Ruan, don't listen to his nonsense. Jiang Ruan looked indifferent. Oh, I've known about these things for a long time. You've known. I didn't know whether to be surprised at her nonchalance or at how Lu Yi shared everything with her. His brain might not be quite right. You should have it checked, she suggested, just as I was about to respond to her personal attack. Once again I heard her say, he was the one who said he liked me and wanted to pursue me. But it always ends up with me taking the initiative to ask him out. If he's not asking me to teach him how to braid hair, he's having me help him choose dresses. I said I wanted to date him, but he wasn't happy about it. He said he can't start dating early as it would lead me astray. Is he just teasing me? These words once again overturned my understanding. Didn't Lu Yi like Jiang Ruan? I even thought they were already together. 18. It took a lot of effort to help Lu Yi back into the car. He kept ranting. Qin Wan is a heartless traitor. Considering he was drunk, I decided not to argue with him. I tried to help him sit properly, but he pushed my hand away. Go find your top student. Don't bother with me. Since you only have eyes for him. I really started ignoring him. Then he began to look aggrieved, his eyes reddening. Qin Wan, you're really heartless, truly leaving me to fend for myself. Haven't I been good enough to you? I worry about you getting cold when it's chilly. And overheated when it's hot. When you were ill and felt insecure, I held you all night long. My arms and legs went numb, but I didn't dare let go, wishing I could take your sickness instead. Anything you glanced at, I hurriedly brought to you, fearing you'd lose interest if I was too slow. You casually mentioned once wanting a princess dress, and like a fool, I carefully selected them, saving for years until I filled a whole room, but you never even looked at them. Now that you don't need me anymore, you want to run off with another man. Don't think I didn't hear you planning to elope with him to University B, leaving Jiangqing. You're heartless. Why are you covering my mouth? Afraid of me speaking the truth? I insist on speaking. Looking at the driver in the front seat, I felt so awkward it was as if I really had become a betrayer. Finally getting him back to the Liu household and into his room, he started making a scene again. He sat on the balcony railing, his eyes reddening as he looked at me. If you dare go with him, I'll jump from here. I won't live. I took a deep breath, pressing my temples. Lu Yi, what are you doing? If you don't want to be the laughingstock tomorrow, you'd better get down now. You say I'm making unreasonable trouble. A laughingstock? I'm already the biggest joke. For years I guarded against him as if he was a thief, yet you still flirted with him. You found me annoying for a long time, haven't you? I'm just in the way of your love talks. Fine, I'll die right now and let you be. I'll make it easy for you. Lu Yi, this is the second floor. You won't die from falling. I grabbed his hand to pull him down from the railing, but he shook off my hand and deliberately fell backward in front of me. Lu Yi, I was horrified as I reached to grab him, but his body's weight pulled me down as well. In the moment we hit the ground, a pair of hands firmly held me in an embrace. Lu Yi landed on his back with a dull thud. Seeing the blood trickling from the back of his head, I felt a chill run through me. Lu Yi, 19. This drama ended with Lu Yi in the hospital. When he woke up, he seemed to remember the absurd thing he had done. Even when his parents scolded him, pointing fingers at him, he took it silently without talking back. Seemingly much matured overnight. After they left, I sighed and looked at Lu Yi. I never realized before how much drama you could create. Was jumping fun? His response was to silently pull the blanket over his face, a complete picture of despair. I suddenly found it amusing again and pulled down his blanket. The gift you prepared for me. I went to see it last night, and I really liked it. Lu Yi, thank you for everything you've done for me. Do you really like it? You don't find it childish? I really like it. A lot. He not only fulfilled the wishes of my childhood but also those of my 18-year-old self. I had always longed for my parents to witness me growing up. Lu Yi made me feel as though they truly had been a part of my growth, never leaving my side. Do you like it more than the gift Yan Zhao gave you? Lu Yi's gaze was intense as he looked at me. My heart skipped a beat when our eyes met. His eyes were so mesmerizing. It felt like they were expressing love, even though he was just looking at me. I averted my gaze and nodded. So, are you still planning to apply to University B? He might not want to hear the answer to that question. I asked teasingly, if I apply to University B, are you going to jump off a building again? He turned his face away, ignoring me, fortunately. When it came time to submit university applications, he didn't make a fuss anymore, but to my utter surprise, I received 2 acceptance letters from University B. Seeing Lu Yi's name on one of them confirmed that the courier hadn't made a mistake. I confronted Lu Yi with the letter. You applied to University B too. As you can see, he said with a smile. Why, I thought you always wanted to go to university, eh? What do you think? Lui stepped closer. And I instinctively stepped back until I was cornered against the wall. He rested one hand beside my ear against the wall, leaning slightly towards me, his warm breath on my face. Qinwan, why do you think I did it? Heat rushed to my face, and I turned to run. I don't know. His other hand blocked my path, trapping me completely between his arms. Haven't I made my feelings clear enough? I've been a fool for you. You surely don't think of me as a brother, do you? Isn't that what it is? I'm not your type. I used to think my ideal type had to be someone with a big chest, thin waist, and long legs. I thought these criteria were absolute, but they are only for those I don't love. When I fell for you, all those standards shattered. Qinwan, I like you. Only you. My heart raced, filled more with disbelief than shock. Lu Yi, go play this game with someone else, don't joke with me, or we can't even be friends. I'm not joking. I'm serious, but I don't like you. And I'm afraid to like you, because of a past life. He casually dropped the bombshell. I stared at him wide-eyed. You've returned too. Seeing him nod in acknowledgement, all the grievances in my heart spilled out. Since you also remember your past life, how can you say you like me? So liking me means constantly seeking other women. Lu Yi, you disgust me. Lu Yi wrapped his arms around me from behind, preventing me from leaving. His voice choked with emotion by my ear. There's no one else, there never has been. I've only ever loved you. I've never touched anyone else. All those other women were just a ruse. I didn't understand my feelings for you before. I thought my concern and possessiveness were just because I saw you as a sister, but later I realized it was different. So when the old man suggested we get married, I was happy, but soon I realized you didn't care about me, my scandals, or whether I came home, so I didn't dare touch you. Afraid you couldn't accept it. Lu Yi then mentioned the woman who had come to provoke me in the past. He never touched her. It was she who drugged him to gain a position, and he merely turned the tables by switching places with someone else. Let that woman suffer the consequences of her actions. Her plans failed and she lost her dignity, so in a fit of rage and embarrassment, she came to me, trying to drive a wedge between him and me, and I foolishly believed her. Not even verifying with Lu Yi before I suggested divorce. You have no idea how heartbroken I was when I heard you wanted to divorce me over the phone. Nuanyuan, now that we have a chance to start over, can you give me another chance? I didn't respond to Lu Yi because I didn't dare to try again. In the days that followed, I kept avoiding Lu Yi. This avoidance continued until the start of the school term. At this university far from home, the only two people I knew were Lu Yi and Yan Zhao. Because I was avoiding Lu Yi, I ended up spending more time with Yan Zhao, but Yan Zhao was also very busy, immediately becoming the darling of the professors, who frequently asked him for help. Even though we hardly found time to meet, Lu Yi would always follow, sticking around like a lovesick puppy, making it impossible to shake him off, his heartbroken gaze making me feel like a betrayer. One day, Yan Zhao suggested going to see a movie, and I agreed. However, my enthusiasm waned when I saw the sci-fi movie about outer space that Yan Zhao had chosen, which I knew was complex and hard to understand, but Yan Zhao was interested, and I didn't want to dampen his spirits. In the cinema, I was drowsy and went to the restroom midway. Just as I left the restroom, I was suddenly pulled into a hidden corner and held tightly. Startled, I struggled as my chin was lifted and kissed forcefully, with desperation and no finesse. Nuanyuan, you are mine. You are clearly mine. I was shocked and angry and worried we might be discovered. I bit his lip hard, and he finally let me go. Lu Yi, what are you doing? He held me, burying his head into my neck, his voice hoarse. I'm just jealous of him, insanely jealous. Nuanyuan, would you care for me? Just let me hold you for a while. Lu Yi held me until the movie ended, until Yan Zhao called. I pushed Lu Yi away. Let me go. Yan Zhao is looking for me. I had just walked a few steps when Lu Yi pulled me back, biting and sucking on my neck until he left a suggestive red mark. Lu Yi, I said, covering my neck, my eyes red with anger. Nuanyuan, tell him to go back by himself. October, Lu Yi's birthday. I was still hesitating whether to spend it with him when he called first. I could hear him coughing on the phone. Nuanyuan, I feel terrible. Can you come and see me? 10 minutes later, I arrived at his apartment. This was supposed to be a place for us to live together, bought by Lu Yi's father, but initially, I decided to live on campus to avoid Lu Yi. I rang the doorbell, but there was no response, so I called him, and no one answered. Worried something had happened, I used my key to open the door. What greeted me was Lu Yi, shirtless, wearing only casual pants, his wet hair still dripping water. The droplets falling down his handsome face into his sexy collarbone and chest. I tried to avert my gaze. You didn't answer the doorbell. I was worried something had happened, so I came in. Nguyen, are you worried about me? I choked up. It seems you're not too sick, so I'll leave now. Would you stay and celebrate my birthday with me? I don't want to be alone. My heart softened, and I decided to stay. His birthday celebration was a candlelit dinner, all prepared by himself. The fruit wine he made was delicious. Although it packed quite a punch, his black shirt was unbuttoned at the top. His skin glowing temptingly under the candlelight. Sweetheart, do you like what you see? Want to touch? Seeing that I didn't respond, he added, tell me what you really think, and I'll let you touch. It looks good. I want to touch. He smiled devilishly, guiding my hand under his collar and across his chest. Sweetheart, you like me, don't you? His lips brushed against my ear as he spoke in a seductive whisper. He looked into my eyes, our breaths mingling, the moment filled with ambiguity and intensity. Do you want to kiss me? Say you like me. Instead of speaking, I kissed him on the lips. The next moment, he took control, the sound of kissing and soft moans amplifying in the quiet of the night. During a brief pause for breath, Lu Yi murmured, you're quite cunning. Sweetheart, the next day, I was awakened by screams. Upon opening my eyes, I was met with the horrified face of Lu Yi's mother. Lu Yi, I'm going to break your legs. How dare you take advantage of Nguyen when she's so young? Minutes later, in the living room, Lu Yi was kneeling shirtless on the floor. The marks of our ambiguous activities were visible, making me wish I could just disappear. What had I done to him last night? Was I that fierce? Hiding most of my face behind a pillow, I listened to his mother scolding him. Actually, I didn't feel taken advantage of. If anything, I was the one who had taken advantage of him. Noticing the marks on his wrists, I tensed, and the blurry memories started to piece together. Under the dim light, I was straddling him. Lu Yi's smile was devilishly charming as he handed me his tie, coaxing, sweetheart, say you love me, and I'm all yours. You can do whatever you want. If you're afraid of loving me without feeling secure, tie me up, lock me up, so I can only see you, sweetheart. Say you love me. As if seduced by a devil, I uttered, I love you. He buried his head in my neck with a victorious chuckle. Sweetheart, I love you too. Now it's time for your reward. Filled with regret, I bit into the pillow. Lu Yi's mother brought me back to reality. Nguyen, don't worry, Lu Yi will take responsibility for you. Let's get engaged now, and marry after graduation. How about that? I don't need him to take responsibility. Lu Yi became frantic. Then you have to take responsibility for me. My innocence has been tarnished by you. I'm even traumatized. I can't even think about other women now. You must take responsibility. Why don't you try men? I muttered under my breath. Nguyen. After that, Lu Yi embarked on a year-long journey of being a resentful husband, always letting himself be bullied by me, then asking me for a commitment afterward. And if he didn't get one, he'd complain about being deceived by a heartless woman. It was truly a heart-wrenching, tear-inducing ordeal. Sometimes, in his madness, he would buy various locks for me, lock me up and love me. Okay, I'm truly all yours. What do I need to do for you to believe that? I'm a frugal person. He bought them, so it would be a waste not to try. Once I actually locked him up, he calmed down. Sweetheart, I knew you loved me, but this state of affairs didn't last long. Once Yan Zhao returned from studying abroad, Lu Yi started acting up again. Sweetheart, should I get a tattoo? I'll tattoo your name all over my body, let everyone know I'm yours. Okay. My eyelid twitched slightly as I thought about it, and my toes began to dig into the ground again. I grabbed his hand and slid a ring onto his ring finger. Mine. Lu Yi burst into tears. I finally have a status now. I promise that from now on, not even a female mosquito will be by my side except for you. On the day Yan Zhao invited me to dinner, Lu Yi showed up uninvited. He was very friendly towards Yan Zhao, but he kept twirling the ring on his finger while talking. After the meal, Yan Zhao gave me a necklace made of meteorite. Nguyen, each meteorite is like the ancient starlight, a symbol of the passage of time. It has witnessed the universe's journey and recorded millennia. I hope it can also witness our future together. Nguyen, let's be together. Lu Yi stuffed the necklace back into Yan Zhao's hands. Classmate Yan, you'd better stay with your cosmic stars. Nguyen is mine. The next second, Lu Yi carried me away. Back at the apartment, on the bed, Lu Yi kissed me while playfully undressing me. Sweetheart, want to try what a 20-year-old husband feels like? I'll make sure you enjoy it. That joy lasted until the next morning. With one hand on my waist, His husky voice whispered in my ear, "Sweetheart, your waist is so slim. I can't take it anymore. Get away from me," I cried out, "Sweetheart. Have pity on me, I've been celibate since my last life." Luya's unrestrained joy angered me. Afterward, I locked him up. "You might as well continue being celibate.